Spy's back. Today, I'm thinking we're going to do a tier list. It's been a long time. I've been considering doing this for a good number of months and potentially years. And I've done a couple of tier lists in the past. I've never really done much with them. I don't really feel like releasing them normally, but I think given how much I've been streaming and putting content together, I thought perhaps putting my ideas about the tier list might not be a bad idea. It's something that it's always fun to have a little discussion about, isn't it? So we're going to start the evening tonight I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to order within tiers, which is something that I don't think I normally do it. I might just sort of give order for maybe the first two tiers, S plus S, maybe even the C tier. It's just that once you get to A and B, there's just so many characters in there that ordering them becomes just like a massive, mess. It just becomes a dangerous, unwieldy task, doesn't it? So looking at this, tier lists just for the novice fighting game enthusiast. Tier lists are meant to be a ranking of the characters, assuming that if they were played in a match, they are being played by two opponents who are both at the top of the game, literally top level players, the top of the top, executing things within human capabilities to the best of human abilities, and also with not perfect knowledge, but as much knowledge as two humans could possibly have about that matchup. It's assuming those things at all times. So typically, a lot of times we'd have 1v1 games, so Street Fighter, for example, and you'd have like 40 characters, and you would rank what matchups do they have. So you'd think, what is Akuma versus Sagat? Is it 5.5 in favour of Akuma versus Sagat? So Sagat's got 4.5. That means Akuma gets 5.5. And if you add up all of Akuma's matchups, that would naturally come to a natural way of arriving at, Akuma's got the most points. Akuma's top one in, Super Street Fighter 4 or something like that. Marvel, of course, is a team game. So being a team game, there is a lot to consider. Of course, we do want to assume top-level players with top-level knowledge and of both their character and the matchup with their opponents. We also assume reasonable decisions are being made throughout the match, but we also have 3 characters on a team, and some of those characters may be completely redundant on point, but amazing in the second slot or the third slot. And if you never play them, if your first and second character never get beaten, there's potential there for that character to be incredibly supportive, but on point if they are on the field, but potentially be extremely crap. So you may see times where, due to the amount characters can support other good characters by being the second to DHC2 or TAC2, or the third to be an anchor potentially, or maybe just provide support. Maybe it's a point support team as opposed to like a point support anchor team or something like that, where you might see support characters quite high up on that list. So to begin with, I have acquired a list here with all 50 characters in, and I'm going to start placing them. I might just do them in the order that they exist on the screen right now. I don't see why not. First of all, the last time I did a tier list, it was before really that I considered the viability of Spencer's Zipfinite. Because the Zipfinite is one of those things that sort of became forgotten to time. Screwbacks did it, and then it was kind of just, yeah, it's possible, but no one's doing it. No one can be bothered. But I since put out a video about it, and I put out a couple of videos about it, where you can hard tag to Spencer from Magneto. So you could have Magneto, one of the best point characters in the game, one of the best characters in the game, period, instead of Spencer on point. Because Spencer on point, naturally, I'd want to put Spencer somewhere like A tier, because he's a very linear character. He's a good damage engine, and he's a good assist in certain situations with slant shot. But he has limited options on things like happy birthdays. He's quite a linear approach. While he's very fast, I think he wasn't really pushing into S. However, this is really... Why have I picked Spencer as my first character to tier here? This is too much. Because if this is a big if, we know that it is humanly possible to put Zipfinates into the game. He can time out any character, any team. So no matter what your team is, if you've got a life lead as a player playing a team with Spencer on, and you execute the Zipfinate, you can time out the entire game for 99 seconds with Zipfinate. It does so little damage, it's actually unreal. And if that is the case, I'm tempted to put him in S+, because he is, in that sense, game defining. It's really hard for me to say that, because even though Screwbacks did it in a tournament once, and apparently he had it down and he could do it. Liberal Terminator's been using it a lot, but I'm yet to see Liberal Terminator do a whole one online or offline. I'm not sure how much chance Libs had to travel around, do that type of thing. But I want to say, in a perfect theory world, Spencer would be S+. But do you know what I'm going to do for now? I might just leave him in S for now and come back to it once I've tiered a few more characters. I might just come back to Spencer because he's a bit of a contentious issue for me with this. Tron. She's a big character. She has a lot of health and she falls out a lot of the combos because she's awkward due to the way her horizontal hitbox, when she's upright, she's got a very wide hitbox, but when she's being comboed and she's being, hit flat like that, the hitbox becomes very narrow yet very boxy, and it's hard. Your character can't get close enough to hit her sometimes. It's awkward for a lot of characters to combo. She has a little bit of the Shuma thing going on. Some characters have a really easy time with it. For example, Dormammu has a really easy time. He gets extra stuff on Tron compared to other characters. So some characters get easier stuff, but I've noticed that a lot of characters have that. She's got really good damage. She's got a really good DHC. She works well with characters like Frank West, and she's got interesting options and synergy with a lot of characters. It's just, I feel like she's limited by her lack of quick projectiles to, say, dominate a zone in war or something like that. And she is zonable, and despite the big health, she doesn't put enough massive hitboxes on the screen. I think she gets away with a lot. I think she has some really good tools, but I think overall we're sort of really relying on that fat health and the awkward hitbox to do a lot of the work for her. I don't think she's really pushing through in the scheme of things. I think Ghost Rider, next up. I think Ghost Rider also sits in C tier for me. Ghost Rider's a character that I think really just needed more development time. Ghost Rider, for me, I think he will be staying right there at the very top of C tier. So I think I'm going to order at least S+ and S, and maybe leave A and B, and then I'll order C tier. Just because it's simple enough to do without taking up too much time. But I think Ghost Rider, I think he's the best of the worst characters in the game. I think Ghost Rider's a solid attempt at hitting the archetype, but they were very afraid in development of making the mistake of having a character be too dominant with really annoying tools. They didn't want a Dalsim type character with big long limbs who's just able to keep you out like crazy and use really annoying tools and frustrate player bases. So they kept this really straightforward, really simple. They didn't mess with Ghost Rider too much. And he's also got awkward stuff, like a lot of his combo routes are really assist dependent. A lot of his why can't his jump heavy just work in a Magic series in the air? You launch and then you've got to do medium, S, and it really messes with the amount of frame advantage you can have. It really messes with the amount of damage and meter that he can gain. He does have some neat combos, and he's got some really cool team compositions. If you've not seen good Ghost Rider play, I really recommend going watching specifically Sack Tap, or Magic Pixel Mexican, as he goes by in a lot of tournaments now, probably to avoid the connotations of hitting nutsacks. Sack Tap, it is a genius, and some of the tech that he uses with Ghost Rider. But you also see Jacko Man, you also see people like I think Risen plays Ghost Rider. Risen plays Ghost Rider Doom. I'm thinking of Risen, aren't I? This is my memory helping me, but so there's lots of good Ghost Rider players out there, but some tech that he has is really good. His full screen snaps, stuff like on incoming mid screen, he has his like shoulder, I think it's his stand medium, he does a shoulder butt forward, and you can corpse hop at the last second, force the opponent to come in. Instead of over here, they come in over there, and then he's got his chain of rebuttal, which is a diagonal chain attack, which is really quick. So he's got this really neat little sort of almost 50-50 based around that. I think if you've seen the setup, you will block, but I'm assuming that then Ghost Rider players can have another layer to it and make you think they're going to appear on the other side of the screen and then hit you coming in the other way. Interesting character. I really like him. I think he is the best of a bad lot, best of the C tiers. Okay, so next up we have Akuma. Akuma, for me, obviously, very early on, he came into the game and was dominant, thanks to Justin Wong, thanks to a lot of Team EG. You got Flo, you got Ricky Ortiz, you got Justin Wong, you got a lot of people picking up Wolvie Akuma. I mean, Justin Wong showed the blueprint of the Best Friends Forever, didn't he? Straight away when Marvel came out. He's a good anchor character. The squishy health hurts him, and he can be damaged really badly as an assist. I think the relevance of his assist has fallen off quite a lot. Specifically because one, Wolverine fell off a lot, so his best friend, sort of like fell off a lot with him. But also, more prominence was given to beam assists, to complete vertical control assists like jam session, missiles. And other assists just were shown to be more potent with better characters. So Zero with missiles or jam, Morrigan with missiles, or pretty much any assist you want to put with it. Like the potency of other assists like Plasma Beam, like Bolts, like Shuma Mystic Ray, those assists were shown to be more prominent, more dominant, just generally speaking, more applicable for a lot of characters. Because Tatsu, if you think about the screen size, if you think about Shuma Ray, it hits everything, doesn't it? If you think about Plasma Beam, it's the entire bottom half. Jam Session, missiles, they hit everywhere. However, Tatsu is just it's like it's at best 3/4 of the screen. It is quick. However, I think is it 31 frames, something like that. I think Shopping Cart from Frank is like 30 frames, something, or 29 frames. Akuma's Tatsu is like 30. I think Iron Fist Rising Fang is 33 or 32, something like that. So it's a quick assist, certainly. But I feel like he's fallen off quite a lot. His comebacks still happen. You see Living Legend putting him to work. Living Legend, one of the main holdouts still of Akuma play, and you can see some excellent Akuma play there. But it is, he lands, he does an invulnerable super Akuma, and then you X Factor and you try and kill a few characters, and it is very possible. But I think the application of him is a little bit more limited than it used to be. I think he's a solid A tier, certainly, because he's got that great assist. He can do multiple supers in the corner and mid-screen, although he has an issue when you sort of like in that in-between space between right up against the wall and the distance that he needs to do double supers. So he can do double supers, he can loop supers, so he's able to kill most characters if he's got the meter, which if he's on anchor he will. So I think he's good in that regard. It's one of those that certainly makes a big difference. So I think solid A tier for him. Amaterasu. I think Ammy, I'm just going to drop her an A tier. Ammy is one of the characters in the game that, her assist again, like Akuma Tatsu, fell off just because of that screen control. It's the short range assist, mid range at best, and it's hard to extend with it. So in terms of support, I think she has a TAC Infinite I think it is practical. I think it doesn't look practical, but I think it is practical if I remember correctly. I think the starter's practical as well because of the way she can get down with her ground bounce move, I think. So if you go side or up, I think he can do a TAC Infinite, but then is it practical? I've always wondered though, because it's arf, and I think if any of that is manually timed, you're going to drop it. That's the gist. But Ammy, I think still her Veil of Mist assist, her Veil of Mist super, and her Kami Shuffle are two great supers. They're just so applicable anywhere on the screen. I think she's a great anchor. I think she's a really powerful anchor. I think her assist is still relevant, played with the right teams. Generally speaking, Doom makes such good use of it because it's a scaling assist. It scales stuff quite hard, but Doom has the sort of like high, low, empty, low throw type game that can make good use of it. And then Follow My Lead is still, to this day, super strong. If Cold Star hit, imagine, never mind if it hit overhead, if they had pre-release vanilla Cold Star. Vanilla Cold Star was horizontal, so imagine Cold Star if it hit the whole screen along the bottom. That was crazy. So I think Ammy was a character that I think she sort of like fell off, but I think the game has been developed where she is actually really strong. She's got ridiculous normals. She has the fastest jab in the game. She's got a lot of good stuff going for her. I think she's a really super solid character. I really like her, and I think she's definitely solid A tier as well. X23. I like her design. Obviously, she has the best theme in the game. They say, I don't know the words, but it's the best theme in the game, obviously. It's just that her normals struggle a little bit. Her movement's super quick. Her movement is so fast. Her command grab is so situational and easy to make with, and also readable. Her command grab also... A lot of her stuff is hard to combo off and requires assists, meter, or X Factor to combo off, including she has a lot of throws that she just cannot combo off, which in a game like this is tragic because throws are so important. It's one of those where, yeah, it's hard for her to convert a super jump height as well. It's really tricky. So for me, she doesn't fit into C tier. I think she is better than that because of her dirt nap setups. When played in a strong dirt nap team, I think she is a character who is a decent B tier character. She needs support, but unfortunately, the type of support she needs a character who can force... She needs a character who can force unblockables, because self-unblockables are just not reliable, I think. For within human limits, I don't think self-unblockables are the most reliable thing, especially when you get to tournament pressure. So I think she needs the help of two characters that unfortunately never end up being completely top tier, because she needs characters who help her combo off a level 3 and then do enough like build. So if she gets 5 bars, right? So the game plan is... whoever is the point character, and unfortunately it might be something like Dante, they need to get a hit, they need to TAC into an infinite, and they need to build 5 bars whilst killing at the same time. So that rules out Doom, because Doom kills too fast to get 5 bars. So she, unfortunately, has this situation where you need to get a hit, TAC, and that is the game won in theory. You get those 5 bars, and then you hit with the level 3, and you've got 2 bars left, and you need to kill with the remaining X Factor time if you're going to use X Factor there, which I think most people would. I think that's the gist. You use X Factor there, and then you extend, because you need to kill whilst building a 3rd bar, and if you don't X Factor, you're not going to kill, and you're not going to have 3 bars for the next character. So you need to X Factor, and then you need to kill whilst building a 3rd bar, and then you can dirt nap the last character again and still have enough X Factor to build enough meter off that dirt nap, or have enough X Factor left to actually do X Factor damage, and then kill the character that way. So you need like Iron Man and Dante on the same team. There is the theory version of like Magneto, Dante, X-23. I like that team, but I've actually tried playing it, and Hypergrav Assist to extend with X-23 is really awkward, and I find that it depends on character hurtbox size and how quick you execute things. It's really tight to get consistent extensions with Hypergrav Assist. It's really weird. It's one of those where I love the game plan, and when it works, it's so good, but it's just a little bit, it's so situational, so very situational. Arthur. This might be controversial. This might be my first real controversial. I mean, you can see those picks. You might have missed my explanation of Spencer. I'm leaving him in S. I could put him in A, or I could put him in S+. I'm leaving him in S. Artie, my old man, old boy. Controversial opinion. Put him in B tier. I'm putting him in B tier. So, Arthur, for me, one of the best assists in the game when gold, because of its piercing capabilities once it's gold, and the projectile durability. It's the only assist that gets medium durability, isn't it? If I remember correctly. But its durability is insane. You aren't competing with it without beating it out. You need to hit him before that assist ends up on the screen. It's a slow moving 3-hit projectile. It's really good. But you need to spend a bar and get him back out safely to be able to do that, and I think that is really detrimental. So it's not used as widely as it used to be, because that game plan is actually really risky for you. Getting him out safely is a risk for your point character who comes out. It's a risk for his team. If he's in the 2nd slot or in the 3rd slot, he's got a nice DHC. He's got a nice DHC. It's damaging, and you can loop it. You could also go to King's Armor and use some invulnerability with his like DP move, whatever it is. My steer, yeah, I think it will be uploaded to YouTube, yeah. And I think it's one of those where he's a really good support character in the sense that like I say, damage and DHCs, safe DHCs, and then the assist. I think it's one of those where the whole thing where the only thing that makes him effective in my mind really is gold armor, and that gold armor coming with a timer. Obviously, it's in character. Obviously, it's goblins and ghouls or ghosts and goblins or whatever the hell it is. It's true to the character, but it's the thing that makes him viable, but also the thing that kills him, because every good character in the game has OTGs. It's one of those things that just the second I see an Arthur put gold armor on, I'm like, okay, thanks, mate. Okay, we're just playing for time now. If I've got X Factor left and you've got X Factor left, it's GG's. Like, you aren't making a comeback with Arthur. Unless you hit me with something so skank and unbelievable that I'm just hype as fuck about it anyway. So it's one of those things where I feel like he's a strong B character, but he just sets that time bomb on himself, and it's really easy to wait it out and stay in a position where you can't be like sort of kept out. Good Arthurs will find better ways to keep you out, and there are a number of ways. I played a lot of good Arthurs in my time, but it's still one of those where if you're aware that now you're down to quarter time, that very shortly they're going to be trying to force you to be full screen whilst they pop, well then you put yourself in a position where you can't be forced to do that. Like, you'll be at super jump height floating above there. It's really tricky for them. Sorting them within tiers, I'm going to sort S+, I'm going to sort S, and I'm going to sort C. I might do some sorting in A and B, but because there are going to be so many characters in A and B, I might not completely sort it, but we'll see. Following up that, I think Captain America then, moving on from Arthur. Was there anything I forgot about Arthur? I got his damage, I got his DHC, got his... the fact that he doesn't have a Plink Dash. Like, I think... if Arthur had a Plink Dash, he'd be so broke. He'd be such a good character. I think if he had a Plink Dash, like, the movement as well as his tools would allow him to be so good. He'd be upper A, I think, like, easy. Captain America, I'm going to stick in B tier, and I'm going to stick him below Laura because his zoning is great versus characters who can't put lots of projectiles on the screen safely. He can take risks and spend big bar to beat out good zoners, but against zoners who do it well, your Morrigans, your Zeros, and all the rest of it, who are using good assists, they can outmaneuver his options, his charging star into his super. He does good damage, he's got invulnerable stuff, but he's just a little bit gimmicky in his low durability shield. His shield, if I remember correctly, is 1 durability, isn't it? It's 1 durability. Once it touches any projectile, it's gone. It's kind of like round trip. And if you touch him, it's 5 durability, is it? But if you touch his body, the shield does not take any. Does not actually. It loses its hitbox, doesn't it? Much like shield, much like round trip again. I thought it was 1 durability. He does have some really good buttons. But like his anti-ground kick, for example, is really good, but it's not as good as shell kick, for example. But yeah, very much assist dependent. I think he's B, and I think he really overall. If I compared like a great cap team compared to say an X23 team that's playing the unblockables like properly, playing its game plan properly, I think realistically he doesn't rank above like a low B for me. I don't think low B. Corky, you think low A? I disagree. I just don't think he does enough. He's mid-tier. Also, he can combo off. He can combo off his grabs. I'm leaning towards low B personally for him. Which, interestingly, Chris, I put at the other end of B. I think Chris sort of ends up. Upper B personally for me. Chris, I think great projectiles, a lovely variety of them. I think he basically deletes a lot of the cast. A lot of the cast really struggles against him. And I think some of his tools are actually complete scumbaggery. I might actually think, is he better than Arthur for me? Maybe I do think he's better than Arthur. Maybe I've reconsidered. Chris, his projectiles on the ground are really good. He's dominating durability wars if he's got good assists behind him, but also putting a mine down That mine is actually ridiculous, and then his flame grenade is actually ridiculous. The mine, if he sat on it in the corner, he's one of the best characters at sitting with his back to the corner. He's kind of like a Sagat fighting out the corner or something like that. Like the mine is ridiculous because the mine is it basically blows up instantly if you touch Chris. If you touch Chris in any way, once that mine is set, it blows up, and the hitbox is big, and it's instant. And when I was testing it, it kind of seemed like it's kind of fucked up, because it kind of seems like it blows up in no frames whatsoever. It's one of those where it's like it's just instant blow up. Like, it's one frame, I think, but it's one of those where it's like. It just because it's so hard to actually do anything. I've tried X Factoring. You can't X Factor once you've touched Chris. You can't X Factor to keep yourself safe. It's really messed up, because I was testing out stuff like Wolverine jump S whilst calling Iron Fist. Let Wolverine X Factor the mine hit, and then have Iron Fist come through and punish Chris, or combo Chris. Yeah, the S tier for Spencer, I could put him A, I could put him S+. It depends. I'm going to come back to Spencer. He's going to be one that I come back to a little bit later towards the end. So Chris, you don't think he's better than Arthur, though? I mean, the main issue is that he is a character who's great on the ground, but the second he takes to the air, he is this. So he's a lot of people super jump up forward to try and move that sort of diagonal arc forward with him. To push. So he's very much a defensive character who's looking for your mistake and looking for you to make mistakes, but he struggles so much with that space that a lot of the top tiers can occupy. You throw mag blasts from up the top, you are charging spells up top, you are doing soul from up the top, you are throwing lightnings and busters from up the top, and also when he commits to a super jump into like gunshot cancelled into one of his specials, he's very vulnerable up there. But he does delete so many of the cast. Like, I feel like he deletes so much of the cast. Like a lot of the cast, just like half of the bottom, the bottom half of the tier list doesn't have anything that they can do against him. Once he put a flame grenade out there, once he's put a mine out there, like they can't. One, they struggle to get past his projectiles, but two, they struggle to do anything about the fact that he puts these things on there. Morrigan has two massive heaving weaknesses. Is that her massive heaving features? Chun Li. If you'd asked me pre Ryan RV, Chun Li would have been like low B for me. She was good at meter building, but we hadn't really seen the rush down. For me now, I think that I sort of stick Chun Li. What do I do? I think she's sort of mid-A. I think she's mid-A. I think she's better than Akuma. I think it's interesting. It's one of those where it's like hard to consider this, because the one team that she works with so well is actually ridiculously strong. So strong. Like, she's really strong. And for that reason, I want to put her higher. It's just that it's that one shell that makes her that strong. And is that one shell where she's effective to that degree because of her keep away, because of her stalling, because of her ability to be up in the air and frustrate the opponent whilst coring Harmonizer? Is that enough to put her higher? She doesn't apply to, she's not good support for other characters. Her assist is decent lockdown, but it's very short range. Invulnerable moves, TAC infinites, but will she slot in with other teams? Well, I might come back to Spencer and Chun Li, to be fair, when I've established the rest of this. Deadpool for me, A tier. The character has strong zoning, really shuts down. Like I say, it's like Chris with shutting down a hell of a lot of the cast, but he has angles that will put a lot of characters into block stun, and then maybe you can teleport off those and put them into tricky positions. He's got his teleport. He's got projectiles that cover a lot of range. His pineapple surprise, his grenade is really good. His capture is really good, whatever it's called. He gets throw combos pretty much anywhere on the screen, doesn't he? He can combo off every throw. He's got ambiguous setups. If you're putting him with like Jewel Kevin's team, like the team is really strong. Just anything, him and Dante work so well. The THC works really well. The welcome mix-ups work really well. It's just a team that does a lot. That shell does really well, and then you can put them with pretty much anything. Hawkeye, Vergil, Doom, probably Dormammu as well. In fact, actually, Deadpool, Dante, Dormammu. Yeah, long little loggy. Yeah, exactly. It's really nice. I rate Deadpool. I think Deadpool's a good character. I think he just shuts down a lot of the cast for free. I think he has a lot of good tech. A level 3, which is just out of place in the game. I think a little bit just because of what it is. It shouldn't have a flash before it activates. It shouldn't. Like, what the hell? The unscales. I never see unscales. I never see them, even from like the best of the best, like Deadpool's. Why do I never see unscales? So that's the interesting thing. For Deadpool, I think he's got synergy with a lot of different characters. You've seen like Zenpool with Ryu Akuma. You've seen Jewel Kevin with Dante and Hawkeye. Just he's got a lot of synergy going on. With Vergil, he gives Vergil such ridiculously meter efficient combos. His jabs are insane. He's got the stupid cross up overhead off his teleport. It's one of those things where he's just really good. His zoning capabilities. He's 900k health, isn't he, if I remember correctly, as well, Deadpool. Which isn't too shabby. Doom, Doctor Doom. This is one which a lot of people argue over Doom's placement. So there's this argument of, do you place Doom? Because, undoubtedly, Doom is a character with the best assists in the game. Plasma Beam and missiles, and then even Molecular Shield is like a top 10 assist. Some people would argue top 5. It's a really good set of assists. He's got the TAC Infinite that's so easy and so applicable, especially if you've got good corner carry, it's even easier. He's got damage in DHCs. You can hard tag to him for damage, so he's a damage engine. The character is just, he's a comeback machine because of the way that he can manage easily to, even if he gets zoned out whilst he's got X Factor 3, he's still only a couple of foot dives away from making this comeback. He's got the solo damage for it, and people are fallible. They will get hit with a neck dive. A foot dive will hit them. It's really interesting. So you could say Doom is the best character in the game. He's the best support. He glues together the most characters in the game. He glues them all together. He's the best. He's on every team, and if you put him with like a Vergil, you put him with a Dante, you put him with just near enough anyone else that's top tier, he enhances them to the point where they become the best version of themselves. I am not a person who believes that him being a top 1 support character and being the glue for everybody in the game, I 100% believe he's the top support character. I don't believe that warrants putting him in the top spot. Personally, for me, he's the best support character in the game by far. I say by far, he's a good chunk better than the next support character, which we'll get to later. And I think he sits at the very top of S, and you have to see my S plus before you make a judgment here, I suppose, but and the rest of my S tier. But I think he's the top S character. I think he's the best character there, despite his flaws. Now, like, you look at these characters here, he beats half of the cast, but he also goes even with a good chunk, and he loses to all of the best characters. All of the best characters, 1v1, in my opinion, have a favourable matchup versus Doom, and some of them it gets ridiculous. Like, he is struggling versus Phoenix. He is struggling versus Vergil if Vergil's got meter. MODOK, Magneto, Dante, I even think as well. Like Nova, although you could get some arguments about that. Hawkeye is miserable. Morrigan's pathetic. Zero, Dormammu. I even think Sentinel has a favourable matchup versus Doom. I think Sentinel puts boots out there and nullifies projectiles at ranges that Doom just struggles with a bit. Rocket Rocket Raccoon, Sea Viper, Viewtiful Joe even. Like, there's so many characters, Strider, who have this matchup, Phoenix. There's so many characters who have matchups versus him where he just struggles so far. Strange, in fact, as well. If Strange puts a Eye of Agamotto on the screen, Doom is struggling so hard to do anything about that. All it takes is for him to have, you know, a second available to be able to shut Doom down entirely. He struggles so much against a lot of the cast, and that's his primary weakness. It's probably one of maybe two things that potentially is a bad thing about him. I think the first bad thing is that he struggles against a lot of characters. Yeah, I mentioned MODOK, maybe even like Taskmaster as well, maybe Storm. So he struggles against a lot of the good cast, and that's not a bad thing because he's so good at support. And the only other bad thing I can really say about him is his TAC, because of his scaling, does too much damage. He kills too quickly. So if you're playing like a Mag Phoenix team, or if you're playing like a X-23 team and you want to do a TAC to Doom, well, you are going to kill them before you get 5 bars. You kill them and you have like 3.5, 4 bars, depending on, you know, how much of a scale combo you did. Like, he kills too quickly. That's his issue. He's too good, basically. Which brings me then to Doctor Strange. Strange, for me, is a superb support character. I think his Bolt's assist is a really strong assist. I think it's really good for a lot of characters. People can get trapped underneath it and get hit high because they don't want to up back, because if you do up back, you get caught with the, you know, you jump up, you get chicken blocked, you jump up, you chicken block, and then you get hit low. Or you get thrown in that position as well. You don't want to press buttons underneath it sometimes, depending on your character. And it staggers. It's got such a long bit of hit stun. He's also an amazing damage engine. He's a great THC partner. His TACs lead to Bimbop Palm Loops. Like, the damage is fantastic. I think he's an A tier character, and I think he's maybe, I'm going to sit him just below Deadpool here, above Ammy, below Deadpool, because the damage is really valuable. The assist is really valuable, but his assist is extremely punishable. It is quick. It shoots twice. Like, he does his thing. He's out for a long time, but then his recovery is actually insane. If you've never played against many Strange players, you might not notice this, but you can punish his assist so long after it's been called, it's not even funny. Like, he's out for a long time, so you actually have a huge cooldown on calling him again. So it's why he's really effective with Nova, because Nova can go in, and if he doesn't get anything out of it, Nova can back all the way up, throw a javelin, maybe put a shield out, and wait for a moment to let Strange cool down. So something like Team Nemo, works really well. Strange is really effective in that position because of the synergy with say, Nova being able to back up and wait things out. It'd be good with Zero, it'd be good with Morrigan, but of course Missiles and Vergil go with those so well. Jam Session, that type of thing. But Strange, where he is good, where characters like a good horizontal assist, he's really good. 2 hits on assist is really good. I'm right in thinking that Bolt's is a 2-hit assist, aren't I? So the scaling's really good. It also works to accommodate characters who have shit scaling, because you're only doing poor damage off, say, Plasma Beam or Unibeam or something like that. Having a 2-hit assist allows you to get started. You think they were worried about making Strange too strong, which is why he's quite pronounced. Yeah, has quite pronounced. His movement assist and vulnerability. Yeah, it's big time like that. They gave him a teleport, but no air dash. They gave him a flight, but again, that no air dash. Like, he's neutered because of what's the point of a flight other than for combo purposes if he can't air dash around? If they gave him an air dash, he would be completely different. His game would be so different. Can you imagine air dash impact palm? Just for a second, a throw option selecting 32 frame hit stun set, crumpling, just like madness button. I'm betting that button crosses up. I bet it's bullshit, that button. Like, that would be a madness. He doesn't have a low light, does he? His crouch light isn't low as well, so he has great support. He has great support, but he is just outstripped in support by a lot of other characters. And I think, generally speaking, his X Factor 3 comebacks, it's a matter of, you need to get the right setup. If you're trying to mix up people in the corner, it's actually really difficult, especially if they've got air options. Like, if Iron Fist falls in, yes, you can wait for him to fall in away from the wall and left-right mix up him. But if it's, you know, a character like Doom or Magneto or Morrigan or anyone good who has an air movement option, you have to meet them, and then you're looking basically to skank them out with a throw. His only lowest crouch ever, yeah, so it's grim for him. His teleport is very good, especially when an X Factor. I think his teleport, is it the fastest, am I right in thinking it's the slowest startup, fastest recovery in the game, if I remember correctly? Is it fastest recovery, slowest startup? Or is it the way around where it's the fastest startup, slowest recovery? I feel like it's fast recovery because you can get like crouch light or impact palmed out of it, or like stand medium, like really quick out of that. We've said enough about Strange. Felicia, the kitty. For me, Felicia, it's that thing where if you sit and you're being made to block by her, her stuff is just kind of like, if you wait and block it out, crouch and wait for something to happen. Am I right in thinking she doesn't really have, it's either low or throw, basically. It's low or command grab, right? Because her stuff doesn't hit high. Am I right in thinking that? I can't even remember. I just block and I don't even have to worry about it. I'm just blocking and push blocking and then wait for it to do something silly and maybe chicken guard and other stuff and throwing her out of it. Her damage isn't amazing. Kitty Helper is just a random thing. She does build good meter. Yeah, low or throw, and if it's Kitty Helper, potentially unblockable. But Kitty Helper's like, meow! She's just not doing the business. And it's one of those where she's just not doing enough out of the hits that she gets. So for me, she's currently at the bottom of the B, and she will stay at the bottom of B. That's about it. Firebrand. Not much really to say about Felicia, in my opinion. I feel like, yeah, Kitty Helper hurts more than it helps sometimes. I feel like she's really good at building meter, but she's just not good at dealing damage. She needs like Vergil behind her to make it work. Maybe some spoilers in the chat there. Firebrand for me. I learned to play this game at the start of Ultimate, and the player I played the most at the start of Ultimate was Zach Bennett. Firebrand, Dormammu, Ammy, and I didn't know what was happening. It was like he was taking candy from a baby. I didn't know what I was doing, and he did, because he was a seasoned fighting game player at that point. He'd probably been playing fighting games for more than 10 years. Third Strike, Street Fighter, you name it. Like he'd been playing probably all the games by then. Traveled a lot for tournaments as well, so he was just elite at that point compared to me. So I'm a bit traumatized. I will preface this with I'm a bit traumatized. And I think I'm pretty good at not making that effect where I sort of rank this character. I think Firebrand, for me, is a character who has ridiculously good strengths and some really strong weaknesses. I say strong weaknesses, really, really important weaknesses, significant weaknesses, which cause him to struggle a bit. So Firebrand, the biggest weakness, obviously, is damage. The biggest weakness is damage. Now, Doom, being one of his best partners, is superb for him because that solves some of the damage issue and also lets him TAC through, and then once it's similar to X23 and her game plan, except if you get that TAC, in theory you should win the game. However, there are escapes for Firebrand stuff. People just don't lab that stuff, they don't train that stuff up. But for me, his strengths, obviously unblockable game plan, 300% potentially. There are teams that will just 300%. If you do the right combos, 300%. And some teams literally have no option. He is a character, and probably the first character in the list here, where you have to change your team to fight this character. If you're playing a team that has no options against Firebrand, I'm telling you, mate, you need to go learn some of the characters which have options, which have invulnerable air supers, which have options to air dash out, to double jump, to at least do something to get out of his stuff. Because if you're playing characters that can just be unblockable for free, you are screwed. For me, this character is an S tier. He is an S tier. His damage is his big issue, but if you put a person in block stun with him, he has the absolute best high-low game in the game. Better than Morrigan's, better than Magneto's. His high-low game is the best in the game, in my opinion. Crouch light or jump light into dash down into crouch light. It's so quick. You're getting crouch light into up, into down. If he goes up and he goes down, you just hit crouch light like He is extremely, extremely strong. It's ridiculous. His high-low game, best in the game. It's kind of nuts how good it is, because he instant overheads every character in the game. So if you're playing something like Firebrand, Doom, Ammy, like, good luck blocking once Ammy's in your face, like with Cold Star and Firebrand is coming. It's actually ridiculous. People who have blocked those strings, I'm actually so hyped when I see it, because he's so good. He's actually also extremely random as hell. Like the whole sort of like what's the phrase? What's the Japanese phrase for like just random like situational stuff, like because quarter circle forward S, his kidnap move, is friggin' ridiculous. So his option select game is ridiculous, because he can do things like plink dash forward, and if you're in the corner, he can walk up to you and do plink dash forward. Abare, there we go. Plink dash forward. If you are on the ground, you get thrown. If you've jumped, he'll do jump heavy. And then if you're somehow not in the way of that jump heavy, he can then cancel into kidnap. So you've got three things there. He can throw you on the ground, throw you in the air, and then kidnap. Kidnap is just because it's an animation, it removes all thought of the assist that you put on the screen. The thing that might protect you normally it's not there anymore. So you have to, at all times versus Firebrand, be extremely cautious, and because you have to play cautious, he gets even more stuff going. Luminous Body is a great install. His speed is insane. It's just the guy's nuts. Basically, he dodges the best assists in the game. He's got full corner carry, and then if you've done it right, in the right situation, you can just hard tag straight to Doom, and then he's building meter, and you are fucked. You are getting unblockable. You've lost two characters because you got kidnapped on this scary thing. It's also plus 90 on block. Like kidnap in the air is like plus 40 basically. It's nuts. It's like plus 20 or something. It's ridiculous. I think he is an S tier character. I think his unblockable setups are fantastic. There are ways out, and I think people need to log them, to lab them. Even with Dante Jam Session, there's ways out. With Dorm Stalking Flare, there's ways out. With Skrull Tenderizer, there are ways out. You just need to go and explore the options. I might make a video in the future about it, but so few people play Firebrand. Apology Man's hardly active. Like it's one of those niche things that, you know, it's way down the list of my priorities in videos. Right, spent a bit of time in Firebrand. Frank West, I don't think there's too much to say about. I think Frank West is a good character. I think he's very reliant on having Dante with him. I think without Dante, he's a full tier down. I feel like without Dante, he'd be a B tier character, but with Dante, he's a solid A overall, because Frank Whack, level 1, level 2 is really bad. Level 3 gives him his anti-air super, his anti-phoenix capabilities, and gives him his plunger normals, doesn't it, level 3, and that's where he starts to become a bit of a threat. And then chainsaw's obviously level 4 and level 5. He just becomes he's actually ridiculous at that point. But even then, he still suffers from some of the stronger zoning in the game. Even once he's got his chainsaws on, his movement is basically super jumps and then stalling, or zoning. You have a good nighty. That's what I mean. He's extremely good. Or it's the whole sort of like it's the whole thing where he either wins or he loses. So there's no in between, basically. I like the Magdante Frank, but I really don't like the lack of like big neutral assist on that team. Like Jam is good, but I feel like just Jam as the main neutral assist for like Magneto is a little bit on the weaker side. I feel like you want a plasma beam, you want a missiles, you want something. Something like that. So I'm gonna put him in the. He's got great anti-Phoenix setups. He's got great tools to mess up most of the cast. Yeah, a bit like Wolverine. He wants 3 different assists potentially. He just wants more friends. Like Frank wants more friends, more ways to level up. But I think really Dante is the best for it. Shopping cart mag is nothing to sneeze at. Yeah. I mean, shopping cart again is very quick, but it's such short range. It's got the same issue with it as like Tatsu does for Akuma. So I feel like he comes in below Akuma on the tier list, which actually also brings me to a very close position on the tier list with Haggar here. Haggar, I feel, is a character who I think overall is better than Frank, and I think maybe just overall, I think he's just not quite as good as Akuma because he has such glaring issues. Like Haggar's one who's just getting zoned. If you want to play Haggar, you often don't want him on point. You want him last or potentially first, but if you're playing him first, you need really good support for him, and you're still actually going to be struggle territory. So he's great in last because his assist is superb, and then you have the option to hard tag him in. So we've seen things like KBR hard tagging for the mix-ups and layers with Lariat. Sorry, with Lariat. With I actually think Haggar's name is Lariat because he's just such a strong assist. He's got great welcome mix-ups. He's got such nice layers and option selects, and just scary 50-50s, because it's really easy to establish meaties with him. It's really easy to establish that you cannot escape. And once you've done that, because that threat is always present, it's really easy to catch people trying to escape with Haggar. His 50-50 game is ridiculous. It's so ambiguous. And then the layers that come after it, he's good. He's really good. But his invulnerable assist is the only free invulnerable assist in the game. You pick him and you play that invulnerable assist, and other players then have to have some modicum of respect for your play, for your character. So that is really good. But if you do take the team out and he's left alone, he gets zoned so hard that it's actually preposterous how bad he is. Like, you think Magneto Haggar's bad, but have you seen Dorm Haggar? Have you seen, like, the moment he falls apart solo, he just has no chance versus two characters. Like, it's big risk after big risk after big risk. He's really, really good and scary up close, but once he's out to that mid-range, he's just so ineffective. But I do think that support that he provides with the assist, with welcome mix-ups that you tag into, you've seen Jason Keto rinse unblockables with Flame Carpet, with Stalking Flare, with Haggar. It's super effective, and I think that warrants, the consistency of that warrants him being better than Frank. I just maybe don't think, I think like Akuma deals with situations better than Haggar does for it. Hsien Ko. Now Hsien Ko's interesting. Previously, I put Hsien Ko bottom 2. Now, after seeing PZ and playing a bit of the character myself, just a little bit, like you guys force me to play her sometimes, gold assist is nothing to sniff at. That alone is a really strong feature. Like gold assist, and maybe sometimes gold on point as well. It's one of those things where it actually is something that makes you stop and listen. Like look, like, you're gonna have to respect this. So previously, I would have put her bottom 2. Now, I think, potentially just considering a bit more, I want to put her a little bit further up. I'm going to leave her there just for a minute, and then we're going to get some more characters. Iron Fist. Yeah, it is the stop sign, isn't it, for Hsien Ko? Gold pendulum assist, whatever it's called. Iron Fist. It's also good lockdown as well. So moving on to Iron Fist, my guy. If there's a character that I have a love-hate relationship with in Marvel, it is Iron Fist. I love his assist. I love him as a character. He's just got so much wrong with him. He's so fast on the ground. His grabs are really strong. His ground throw versus anti-air throw game is really strong. His damage is superb. His stand medium, his stand heavy is really good. His super is invulnerable. That is a plus. However, if you compare super to Bionic Arm, so Bionic Arm and Iron Rage, Iron Fist's invulnerable super, have exactly the same frames, except if you try and mash Iron Fist's level 1, you get his Volcanic Roar instead. If you mash Spencer's super, you can mash it because it's quarter circle back and he doesn't have any other supers to interfere with it. Spencer's super is 1 hit, so it doesn't scale the combo, whereas Iron Fist is like 40 when you mash it. However many hits it is, 30 or something. If it trades, you get hard knockdown out of Spencer's, whereas Iron Fist trades into soft knockdown. It's actually a mess. It's really a mess. Also, Spencer's super, if it whiffs, is instant, like half screen, like space taken up, and will trade or go under them and fly to the side. So it's like a really crap version of Bionic Arm. However, it is useful. It is practically useful. He can double super, so he's capable of doing big damage solo for 1 bar, and he's capable of big damage solo for 2 bars, or even 4 bars. You saw a clip went around on Twitter the other day where I did like 1.15 with green chi. With red chi, you can do 1.1. He might be able to kill Thor with red chi, because he can do 1.2 starting with no chi on Haggar on a standing hit. So he's quite good. He's quite good at damage. Problem is, every character on this list has a counter to Iron Fist, and that counter is the inputs of 6, 8, or 9. If you have any way of being in the air against Iron Fist, as in you do not get locked down on the ground, you can win the matchup. If you're able to sit at normal jump height for any length of time and press a button coming down, Iron Fist is bloody baggered. He struggles so much. He's getting an earth throw and then doing 700, 800k off you, like for the meter that he can build off it. It's really tough. Even with optimal assists for him, it's really tough for him to do big damage. He might be looking to snap out, he might be looking to do other things, but he basically loses to so much in the game. However, his assist is extremely strong. Rising Fang, for me, personally, I think Rising Fang is something of an anti, and I hate the phrase here, anti-meta, because meta is a word I'll have an argument with you over what meta means. But just to stick with the popular sort of use of meta these days, his assist, I feel, is very anti-meta. It's very quick, it's very hard to stop, and you will trade a lot trying to stop it. You get a lot of time to combo off it. It is 120,000 damage, I think, if I remember correctly. 130? Not sure. 130. Yeah, I think it's 130, because when you get red chi, it's like 158,000 damage or something like that on the assist. It's a really quick assist. It does a lot of damage. It does no scaling whatsoever. It is really good at hitting normal jump height. A lot of people want to up back. A lot of people want to approach from normal jump height, your Novas and your Zeros and whoever else, your Magnetos as they come down with Mag Blast, you body block it with your point character, Rising Fang sweeps them out. It mutually nullifies assists, projectile assist. It's just very good as an assist. I think it's an extremely good assist, and that assist for me carries him to the top of C, basically. I don't think he's a B tier character. I think even with assists, like, you can do good things with Ghost Rider. You can do good things with Point Iron Fist. I don't think the assist carries him enough as a support character. But I do think you either got to stick him on point and struggle, or put him in an assist, put him as an assist on anchor and hope that you never have to play him. I could talk about Iron Fist for a long time, but I'm not going to go on any longer about him. He's a decent character in a game where characters need to be godlike, basically. Jill, for me, Jill has, and Corky's in the chat and I'm aware of that, Jill for me has a lot of faults. Number 1, damage. Number 2, getting zoned out. You think he's better than Ghost Rider? I don't think Iron Fist is better than Ghost Rider, personally. Like she gets zoned, and if she struggles to have meter on her side, she also then struggles to stop your characters from stopping her assist. So if you want to play Jill Drones, Jill Plasma, Jill whatever, she wants to basically stop you from stopping her assists, so she's got to spend her, on a gunfire super, she's got to spend meter on it, or she's got to already be in your face. But that's her problem in the first place, that getting in your face and staying in your face is a little bit troublesome for her. So she's reset dependent, and in a game where you're doing damage and killing off 3 hits, being reset dependent for me is struggle tier, man. That's really struggle tier. She's definitely a C tier character. I think she's one of them where she's like the upper sort of like portion of the C tier, because she does, if you do block her stuff, if you get stuck in block stun and you're blocking Jill stuff, she's really strong, man. Like, she's really fucking hard to block. Like, she's left, right, she's up, down, she's low, high. It's a mess. Like, it is scary. It is one of the things where once she puts you in a bad position, she can really force herself on you. But after that, it goes back to the struggle of neutral again. I think she got a TAC Infinite that's the easiest, and one of the best partners is Doom. She becomes a one-touch with Doom. I've seen a lot of your stuff, Corky, like a lot of your tech. It is actually really good. I still think Jill, like, compared to a lot of other characters, like, in certain situations she excels, and in a lot of other situations she's just mid. Like, she's not really doing what she needs to do as a character. Nemesis, for me, is definitely a C tier character. Previously, I've put Nemesis above Jill and below Iron Fist, but I'm kind of thinking, I think Nemi's maybe worse than, I think he's better than Tron, but I think he's worse than Jill. He's got a very linear approach, but he does have armor. He's extremely big. His damage, if done with the right routes and off the correct hits, is really good, but a lot of stuff that he wants to help him play the game scales stuff a lot. I love his resets. I love his tentacle grabbing like resets on the characters that he's got that on. It's funny as hell, and it's just infinite. He will meterlessly kill characters like Iron Fist, for example. I think that's sick. I think that's really good. But he's such a big target. His zoning he is actually a zoning character. He's a zoning character, not in the sense of projectile zoning, but he's got really big normals. He's got some projectiles, and he's just looking to keep you at sort of ranges where he can sort of just either dash in and hit you with something skank, or hit you with a command grab, or just back off again and hit you with some tentacles, put you in a position where he can jump over you and starfish you, and like he is all about spacing and zone maintenance. He's looking to maintain the zone that he's in, because if you're outside of that zone or you're too close to him, like if Wolverine's in his face, he's struggling. If Magneto's full screen, he's struggling. Like any character that can put stuff on the screen and stop him from doing his rockets is really tough. Yeah, it's one of those things, and you've got to commit quite a bit to some of his stuff, doesn't he? He's a character that for me, he's just not quite all that. And then yeah, his super is a struggle, and his assists are, yeah, he's not providing damaging DHCs or safe DHCs. All of his DHCs are unsafe, so he's a point character for sure. And he's just kinda too big, too slow, too bulky. Like the health is good, but even then he's not even he's 1.15, he's not 1.2, isn't he? And that's just struggled here for me. Now, Phoenix, Jean Grey. Phoenix changes the game when you face her. You have to change the way you play the game. When an opponent picks Phoenix, you have to have a game plan in mind for how you're going to fight the opponent. You can't play against the Phoenix team the way you play against any other team. She's completely unique in that regard. You have to focus on not killing point characters, or not killing mid characters. Violence indeed. And you have to basically fight to get her in as soon as possible. For that reason alone, and the fact that she's a top tier anchor, even without Dark Phoenix, like, well, kind of. Dark Phoenix makes her the best anchor in the game. She's the best character in the game when she turns dark. You have to fight. You have to fight knowing that. You have to fight to prevent that. Weirdly, I feel like a lot of people really rate Phoenix as like the best anchor in the game. The best like character in the game once she's dark, I mean. And then they don't snap her in. I feel like we started off this game in 2011, and people snapped Phoenix in all day. And nowadays, people choose to leave her. Like the opponent's got 4 bars, and they do a really long combo and give her 4.9, and then snap. It's like, why didn't you just snap him immediately? Like, why didn't you just... it's really weird. Last couple of years, I've just seen a ton of people just not snapping her. And yeah, you might have some anti-Phoenix tech, but there's no Phoenix tech, an anti-Phoenix tech better than snapping her in and killing her before she gets 5. Well, actually there is, because there's like Morrigan in the game. Phoenix is S+ tier, and we'll get more to discussing her later. I'm just going to leave her there. She changes the way you play the game. She's absolutely skank. Dark Phoenix is the worst thing to face. If you've struggled with Dark Vergil incoming, she is basically mid-screen the hardest thing to block in the game. Like solo, she is just traps everywhere, and you know, it's just layers on layers on layers, and you have to 50 block her. It's nuts. Phoenix Wright is the next character in the game. You know which tier I'm going to put Phoenix Wright in. Phoenix Wright is a character who relies. I'm going to come back to Hsien Ko. I mentioned I'm going to come back to Hsien Ko. She relies. In fact, let me just sneak Hsien Ko to there just for now. He relies on RNG. If your opponent sees that you get three evidences collected straight away in a row, if you go evidence, 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 and they get a good bit of RNG that game, if they go back to character select, it resets the pool of evidence. So now, next game, you might get bad evidence, bad evidence, evidence, bad evidence, evidence, and you might have to pick like 6 things. He's reliant on finding evidence to become the god that he is. But even once he's in god mode, even once he hits turnabout, it's one of those things where basically, if you're off the ground, he's got to throw you. He's got to throw you because if you don't press buttons, well then you're not going to get fisted. You're not going to get fingered by him. For me, of the characters that I've tiered so far, I think he's worse than all of those. He has some neat stuff. The best team for him, in my opinion, is Spencer, Phoenix Wright, Doom, because he enables Spencer to have unblockables, and it makes Spencer really friggin' dangerous, because even if he gets you off a stray hit where normally he couldn't kill on point because he couldn't get enough AEKs in and he couldn't build enough bars, he now gets unblockable setups with Phoenix Wright. It's actually crazy. Like, it's really good, really strong. Missile assist is really strong for him. But just like Maya is good. She comes out, she absorbs what? She absorbs like how much? 150,000 damage. But even then, like, he can be grabbed, so he has to be wary of that. You can pretend to go in and then move back out, and he maybe will still be getting evidence, or he may be wary of you being about to go in and throw him. Like, it's a dangerous thing, like for him using Maya, because there's a mind game there, and if you throw him a few times, he's got to stop. Is it 250? I think it is 250, isn't it? Oh yeah, Magneto can sort of like attraction him out of it. Although I don't really think that's worth it, because if you have like Magneto plasma, just do a disruptor into a plasma, maybe a light disruptor and plasma, and then do a heavy disruptor, and I think that's it. It's done with. Firebrand is crazy good in my opinion. I think he's the lowest of my S tiers. You'll see more about what my S tiers coming as we progress. Ordinary guy. I like him. I like his character. It's just he's so ordinary. He is just pathetic, isn't he? He's got a Hadouken. He's trying to hit people with crouch heavy light sweeps. His Tatsu's interesting for mobility, but he can't convert off them all so easily. He's like ABC. His combos. It's really he's just. It's really hard thinking about. Yeah, why does Denjin channel into the Satsui no Haru? Like, why does Denjin? It's not even red, for God's sake. Why does it happen? Like, Ryu is just like, you got to go into Denjin to do any cool combo routes, and even then, like, come on, bruh. It's the worst install in the game. Are there any worse installs than Denjin? Are there worse installs than Denjin? Like, Denjin is just, yeah, it's just, you put it on, you do some cool combos, do some damage. His buttons are just okay. He's an okay character. He's an ordinary character in a game, again, where you need S tier stuff. For me, he's better than Phoenix Wright. I don't think he's better than Tron overall. I think he's a fun character. I think he's reasonable. I just think that's it. He's just reasonable. And that brings us to another C tier character. Mothman, how are we doing? Another CT character, She-Hulk. She-Hulk, the character. Yeah, you just wait, Mothman. You just wait. She-Hulk, another character that she struggles for damage. Her supers eat up bounces, or if you don't have bounces, you can't do it. She can't do her full super, can she? If she's used up a wall bounce, or if another character will use the wall bounce. Am I right in thinking that? She uses up all the bounces herself if you want to do long combos with her. So even DHC into a damage engine is difficult. She gets push blocked out. She's got to take big risks. Like some characters, like Morrigan does a command grab. How the hell do you punish Morrigan's command grab? Like, are we serious? Like, Hulk's command grab is even hard to punish, but she runs along and has a massive whiff animation. So if you're ready for it, it's just grim. She's basically Ryu, but more of a grappler. She's no projectiles, really, has she? She can do a big committed swing with a lamppost, can't she? There's not much to say. I think potentially she could be like bottom one. I think Phoenix Wright has more going for him than She-Hulk does. I think Ryu has more going for him than She-Hulk does. I think Tron has more going for him. Sorry, yeah, Rock, one sec. Sorry, yeah, you're right. There you go. S tier plus Iron Fist, yeah. And we come on to the squid boy, the tentacle boy, Shuma. No mix-ups. Yeah, it's basically strike versus throw, isn't it? Yeah. Shuma Gorath. One of the best assists in the game. Solo in the corner, some of the best solo damage in the game. Solo in the corner, some of the best pressure in the game. Solo. He's a little bit dangerous. Like this character, I hate his tentacles. I hate him. I just hate the way he looks. I hate the fact that he drops out of all the combos. He is the most notorious dropper out of combos. Pretty much, he is really frustrating to combo, like so many times. Even people who have been doing tournament combos for years, like, are gonna drop stuff on Shuma. However, he suffers from a little bit. He's got this great assist. He's got damage coming out the wazoo when you get the right situation. However, mid-screen, he struggles to apply it. There's a lot of drops that happen, even from really, really like seasoned Shuma players. Mid-screen, he's struggling to do that a little bit. And then, as Corky's just said, he gets zoned out. He is a character who gets zoned out so hard. If he's mid-screen against a character who zones well, or a character who even has reasonable zoning plus an assist, his chances of winning that match are so low. It's the same Haggar assist problem. You put Haggar at the back, or you put Shuma at the back, and if it comes down to it as your anchor character, you need to get in their face. I agree that Shuma is hard to tier, but for me, I'm putting him in the middle of A, and I think for me overall, I'd slot him just below sort of Chun, and probably below Ammy as well. That sort of space, and I think he's mid A tier overall. Because when his strengths are used effectively by Wolverine, by Dormammu, by Vergil, by Morrigan, I think Shuma is a character that really exemplifies what it means to be a strong assist character, because the assist's actually bonkers. I really think like Shuma's very good at what he does, but then really suffers when he does suffer. Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man as a character. I think his design is really cool in the game. I think he's cool as hell in Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think his character's always just been a cool character. He's just that kid who's, he wants to do some good. He's the friendly neighborhood spider. Like he's a cool character. I think he's well designed. I think his design in the game really matches his character. And I just think that he's struggling to put enough on the screen and struggling to apply enough mix-ups to be anything in my mind more than B tier. I feel like he's an upper B tier, but I feel like he's not really pushing into the upper echelons of the cast. He does have some nice stuff. He's got web throw unblockables. Like if you're playing some Magneto, some like Stalking Flare or something like that with Dormammu, and like he does good damage, but he's execution heavy as well. You've got to have your plink dashes on lock. You need a team that supports him. He goes well with Doom. He goes well with Shuma. He goes well with a lot of good characters. That's one nice thing he's going from. So like some of the low tier characters actually struggle to use a lot of the best stuff in the game. Like if you put certain characters together, it's really hard for them to even synergize that well with some of the best top tier stuff. But I think on the whole, Spidey does. Finicky, unforgiving. It's a bit rough, basically. Yeah, he's good in certain aspects, but I think he's just not quite got enough in terms of getting in your face, in terms of staying in your face, and in terms of applying mix-ups that make you really that worried. It's a little bit hard to say that he's any better than, say, an Arthur or a Chris, and I'm still, I might do a bit of this as we go. Now, that brings us to Storm, who is also one who I find a little bit hard to tier, because one, she's fantastic at Runaway. She's got one of the best THC supers for killing assists. Slightly odd buttons. Storm, she's actually really good at Runaway. We've got Captain Joe, and Captain Joe plays Storm, Morrigan, Haggar, and is basically is it Storm Morrigan Haggar or Storm Haggar Morrigan? Whatever the order, basically Runaway Storm with a Lariat assist there. Oh no, it's Haggar Storm Morrigan, isn't it? And this team, it's just Runaway Pipe and calling Morrigan assist, and then killing your assists with Storm as a THC or a DHC. It's really weird because what is this? It's a crap team. It's Haggar Storm Morrigan. It's no synergy, but it does. Because Haggar is a crap character if he has to chase you, but if you have to chase Haggar, Jump Pipe is one of the most dangerous things to try and get in on, and then Lariat is one of the most dangerous things to pressure against. If he can do Lariat, DHC, and then kill... If you're trying to pressure with assist, he can just do Lariat, Super, DHC, and kill your assist. It's really messed up. And then he runs away with Storm, and then calls Morrigan. It's the most messed up team you've ever seen. So there's weird stuff like that. She's fantastic runaway, and she has won an Evo. She's won an Evo. She's got a TAC Infinite. She's got a good Super to DHC through to. She got 2 good assists to Super to DHC. The Power of Gaia assist DHC is really good too, because it's animation. It puts you in animation. Justin Wong doesn't count. I mean, Justin Wong doesn't count really, does he? She's won an Evo though. For me, she's really dependent on very particular assists and teams to both build meter and do damage. Like, she needs to be Storm May Cry to do damage and build meter. She's really struggling. However, the stuff she does do again, it's really strong. She's really strong, and for that reason, I'm going to put her mid B. I think she's mid B. Yeah, basically, my argument for Storm there is that it's a Morrigan argument, basically. In a sense, there, Moth's right. Storm, I think, like, she's great at what she does. She's great at the stall, and she's great with a high-low game. She's really fast. She's really zippy, but her combos are just really, really tough to make happen. It's really hard, man. It's really hard to make meter happen for her. So I suppose there's certain, like, I like the team Haggar, Storm, Morrigan is nice, but I feel like even then, jump cancelable normals. She's in your face, and she's hard to block once you've blocked an assist, like Akuma Tatsu. But then she's just struggled here in terms of damage. I don't know how Justin Wong did it. Personally, for me, she's a B tier character overall. And then we got the ninja, Strider Hiru. Hiru. Strider Hiru. Strider, the ninja. Small hitbox, double jump, and I can't really understate how valuable a double jump is in this game. He is hard to catch, great option selects, low damage. Great anchor, X Factor 3 sorts out his damage issues. He's very good at killing 2 characters and then fighting on fair terms a 3rd character. He's also got self mix-ups. He's got self, like, meaty into staggered stuff. I think, for me, of the characters that I've listed so far, I think Strider is the second best in S. I think Doom is the best S tier character. I think Strider, due to his anchor capabilities and the assist that he does and the way that he synergizes with Doom and Vergil and a lot of characters, I think he's extremely good. His assist is one that you cannot ignore. Even though you can punish his assist, the very fact that you're trying to punish his assist means that for a lot of characters, they have an opportunity to get in. Whoa. Too high? Are you kidding me? Bruh, you've not seen the rest of my S tier. Hang on. There's a lot of characters to go yet. And a lot of the characters, I did actually move a lot of these characters who are good to the bottom end of the list here. So I'm going through in order on purpose, leaving a lot of the good ones to last. Even if you're putting effort into punishing Strider and thinking you're doing well, you are now taking your hands off the wheel and letting their point character move around as they see fit. And if they have any sort of mobility, then you're going to be able to get into a position where maybe you could punish their punish attempt, or at least make them suffer for it. And if they're thinking about that, maybe that allows you to set up But he synergizes really well with Doom, with Morrigan, with Dante, with Vergil, with Zero, with a lot of characters, with Viper, with Wesker, with Trish. There's a lot of characters that he synergizes really well with. So I think Strider is an S tier character. I think he's easily one of like the top 12. And I think he's better than some of the other characters that I'm going to put in the S tier as well. I think he is better than some of them. A good chunk of them. He synergizes well with Nova. Of course, how did I forget Nova? He actually synergizes really well with Nova, in fact, as well. Strong synergy with... I've never once in my life considered MODOK Strider, but that makes perfect sense. I'm guessing just that you can hit him with a booger and OTG and just go straight into combos with him and do decent damage. Super Skrull. Also, he is... In terms of anchor characters, obviously Dark Phoenix, Vergil. Dark Phoenix, Vergil. I mean, who else? Like, we're talking anchor characters, proper anchor characters, dedicated anchor characters. He's up there as one of the best. One of the best anchor characters out there. Peasy, how are we doing? You were a big consideration in where I've put Hsien Ko there, and she's still actually a floater. She's still a free agent. She's moving about in this tier quite a bit still. Easy pickup, straight knockdown, multiple extensions. I think Strider as a there aren't actually, for the sake of this game, there aren't actually that many dedicated anchor characters who you can say you do not need to snap in. Who you do want to snap in. You snap in Phoenix, you snap in Vergil, you will snap in Strider, and then they are characters who will sweep your team. A lot of the other characters you might snap in for their assist and their support, who might be in, if Doom is last, you might snap him in for the assist. If Dante's last, you might snap him in for the assist, potentially. But if there's a better character who can sweep your team, you might snap them in first just because of the danger of them. Or if someone has a ridiculous Dante, you might snap that in. If they're actually, at certain times, you might actually never snap Dante in, and you might fight someone who kills your entire team with Dante twice in a row, 2 games in a row. Next game, you snap in Dante just because you're struggling versus this person's playstyle with that character. But you will always want to, in my opinion, snap a Strider in, unless the team is like a 3 anchor team, where it's got some messed up situation where it's like a Vergil Doom Strider. I find it's really hard to know what to do versus Vergil Doom Strider, or Nova Vergil Strider. Like, Nova Vergil Strider is so weird as a team to fight, because if you put Nova at the back, Nova's a character who is one of the most rago, abare, messed up random anchors in the game. It's really messed up. He's a character I hate fighting because he's so fast and messed up on anchor on his own, and he's got his human rocket super. It's actually messed up. But for me, that anchor capability of Strider really, really cements him as really quite strong. Skrull has 1 assist, which enables Firebrand and enables Firebrand Doom Skrull to be amazing. Outside of that, his assists are no good. Not really, are they? They're not really defining neutral, are they? On point, I mean, on Anchor is where he was the most dangerous for years and years and years. But I think a lot of people just weren't wearing headphones. Like, if you hear the channels left and right on your headphones, or you've got a good TV or speakers, exactly, you can hear if both channels play, he's in the middle when he does his meter smash. If you hear him on the left, he's meter smashing on the left. Likewise on the right, you can hear where he's going to be. He's not as random as you can be, but he does have that command grab, and he does have some annoyingly large big moves that he can combo off into big damage. His smites and his chargeable moves are really fun to use, and yeah, you will get caught by the occasional thing. He can just disappear and appear next to you whilst you were committing to an option and mess you up, but I don't think that's consistent, and I don't think it's as solid as maybe it should be. In my opinion, he enables one of the better characters in the game, but I don't think he himself is one of the better characters of the game. I'm putting him somewhere close. It's really hard for me between these 3 characters. Chris and Arthur in particular, I'm not sure who's sort of... I might just leave that like that for now, but I think Skrull's a little step down from them, and I think overall, the way he moves... the area that he likes to occupy at that normal jump height with his air dash, like the space that he occupies, the stuff that he has. Like he beats a lot of low tiers for free. Like for example, if you don't have an air movement option, he just command grab loops you for free. So he's kind of like Nemesis in that regard, but he does better damage than Nemesis. He has better tools than Nemesis. I think he's kind of ash. You think Spidey's better than Skrull? But Spidey doesn't facilitate 300% teams. Like that's the thing. I think generally speaking, on point, Spidey is a better character than Skrull. But I think that Firebrand is rock mode. To answer that question, look at the characters I've got left to place in my tier list here. So that type of thing. Spidey Magneto. I suppose actually, yeah, you've got a point there. Skrull pretty low. People got mono tier list. It's true. I mean, do I think Laura and Cap and Felicia are better than Skrull? I mean, Storm. Jaeger, you're biased towards this guy right here. In fact, just because you said that, I'm moving Cap here. Spidey Magneto gimmick. You get some blockables, unblockable grabs off that. So I'm gonna leave Skrull there for now. I just think overall Skrull facilitating Firebrand and Doom is better than pretty much anything that, in my mind, even in theory land, that Spider-Man facilitates, because one touch with this team 100% guarantees that you have to block this boy and deal with this boy swooping at you. And if your second character gets hit, it's an X factor, and it's a wrap if your third character doesn't have an option. Hsien Ko do be climbing. In fact, actually, she's just dashing. She's just like doing, blip, blip, blip. She's just like disappearing and like appearing over here. Basically, that's what she's doing. I think Skrull's right there, in my opinion. Taskmaster is a healthy boy, and I think I think it's a relevant amount of health. He moves into the tier of health where a lot of characters struggle to do that much off an initial hit on a lot of teams. Not the top tier teams, not the very best in the game, but a lot of the mid, like Deadpool's, like even Haggar's, and Chris doesn't struggle that way, but like your Wolverines and Viewtiful Joe's definitely, like Wesker's, a lot of these characters are struggling to do that level of damage. Nova sometimes as well, although Nova Spencer obviously is going to do the damage. Nova Vergil's going to do the damage. Skrull, for me, in my mind, he is the Ryu of Marvel. He's got great normals. He's got decent projectiles. He does good damage. It's nothing crazy. He is a bit of a Ryu character for Marvel, in my mind. As some of the Cheech Wizards said a long time ago, and I feel like that's always been something I agreed with. The Task is a good character who is, fairly ordinary, and it can teach you fundamentals about the game, and it's one of those that could just do with a few more bits about him. He's got some unblockable tech, but it's really committing to spending a load of resources on making it actually do enough damage to run through a team. He's not running through a team with the resources that he has for it. I don't think that's the case. Taskmaster for me, I think Taskmaster's better than Felicia, but I do think Cap is better than Taskmaster. I think Taskmaster doesn't do enough versus the most relevant in the game. He got his counter super though. Do I think and the health and the projectiles? Do I think better than? Because if he's better than, it's the unblockable. I can really mess around with these. I don't think Phoenix Wright is mad low PC. Honestly, I don't think he is that low. I think he's just struggled here. I think he's really struggled here. In fact, one of the things keeping him off the bottom there for me is the fact that he's got unblockable setups with Spencer. I just think if you're playing Phoenix Wright, I just think you're just in for some serious struggle. I put him as bottom one. The fact that he's just a gimmick character who doesn't even get a guaranteed gimmick. It's not like get to 50 hits and take a snapshot, you're level 4. It's, did you get good evidence this game? I'm going back to character select. Now you're going to get crap evidence. You got crap evidence and you're going back to character select. Well, next game, if you get good evidence, I'm going back to character select again. Have some bad evidence, please. It's just, Point Spencer being the optimal for Phoenix Wright is funny. Like it's funny, like, because Point Spencer isn't the wave anymore. Like, come on, it's 2023, lads. Let's get it sorted. I'm going to leave Task around about there. I might reorder at the end when I'm done with these, but I might leave him there. Thor, big boy, the health milestone of the game. We like to kill Thor, don't we? And a lot of characters can kill Thor in a lot of ways. The health, as we went on, we saw that the health wasn't as relevant for Thor, apart from when you're playing a very bitty zoning game and he gets to DHC out and recover some of that health. You're almost guaranteed, if you play Thor, almost guaranteed in a lot of ways, 4 lives. So instead of dying in 3 touches, you can die in 4, because a lot of times you don't really care about killing Thor as much as a lot of the characters behind him. You might want to kill a Doom, you might want to kill an Arthur, you might want to kill a this or that over Thor. For me, Thor is a solid B tier. I think overall he's not as good as, say, Chris. I do think he's better than, say, Storm and X-23. Do I think he's better than Spidey? Skrull facilitates. It comes down to Skrull facilitating them two there. Skrull facilitating the flying rat bastard. Like that's just big for me. I feel like I might have a bit of a different perception of Thor because I play a character that Rising. In fact, it's ideal that he's positioned there because I can just say Rising Fang as he goes into the air and tries to charge his mighty strikes. Rising Fang is right there, whereas a lot of characters don't have that facility to just sort of like instantly put him in a position where he could be getting bopped for trying to do his most potent tool. He wants to jump, he wants to do mighty strikes, and he wants to get armor, and he wants to go through projectiles, but like he just doesn't do it well enough, often enough, for getting through the best stuff in the game. I feel like he gets touched too much by too many characters. Yeah, Thor, I mean, he's got some good stuff. I love the stuff like command grab into command grab there with like DHCing from Thor to Frank if Frank's got it already, or Thor to She-Hulk. I love that. I do love that he's got an invincible super that, you know, he can combo off his super solo, can't he? His mighty grab. What the hell's his grab called? He's just got a terrible shockwave super though. That's awful. His assists are kind of naff, but he does have an invincible crossover counter, so that's one thing to consider. Mighty Punish, that's the one. He's got nice stuff going for him. He's just a bit fat and slow, and the health doesn't really mean as much to the game as it used to. And then Viewtiful Joe. Joe for me is a character that, I don't know, he's kind of like a Deadpool, but without the ability to easily build as much meter and without the ability to have as many DHC partners who work well with him and synergize well with him. Like, he's basically, I think a Viewtiful Joe Vergil team with Vergil mid is quite good, and I feel like he needs some really pestering assists. Like, he needs a Strider, or he needs a Doom, like Viewtiful Joe Doom Strider, Viewtiful Joe Vergil Doom, Viewtiful Joe, even Viewtiful Joe Morrigan, I think would be a good team, because he is quite a pesky runaway character. I love his slow, but the fact that he can't combo out of it is like the most disappointing thing. He's got good invulnerable stuff. He's got he's got his dodge. He's got his super, which is really invulnerable, isn't it? Joe Vergil Doom got to be his best team besides Morrigan Phoenix. Like it's one of those where I want to say like he's nearly as good as Deadpool, but I don't think realistically he comes overall close to him on the tier list. I think maybe I can put him, I want to put him sort of like here. Like, it's a bit tricky. He's one of these characters where like even like Dominion's team of Joe Strange Morrigan, or Joe Morrigan Strange, I think he had Strange second, didn't he? He is a horrible anchor if he gets snapped. Like, he really needs that assist support for his Boomerang. Basically, his Boomerang game deletes like so much of the cast. His Boomerang game basically obliterates so much. The bottom half of the cast can't compete with that. If there's assists to back it, it's really good. And assuming perfect play, I don't think assuming perfect play that he's better on point than, say, a Chun. I don't think he's better on point than an Ammy or a Deadpool, assuming, like, I say perfect play, you know what I mean, optimal play for the best players with good knowledge of their own characters and good knowledge of the opponent's characters, or top knowledge. I don't think he provides enough support in any way to bump him up any further than that. Like, honestly, he's kind of just one of those characters where you can get him out, you can get him out safely, and then you want to hard tag him back in because you don't want to DHC him back in, apart from if you got a hit. It's a weird one. Joe is one of Hsien Ko's rare winning matchups. What, because of her Genki or whatever it is, her gongs? It's an interesting one. Now, Jill. Jilly. Previously, I might have said Jill was low. No, not Jill. If I said Jill, her name's Trish. What am I on about? Oh my god. Right, so that's how bad I think Jill is. Trish is. I've been just called her Jill about 8 times in a row. That is Trish. Trish. Trish, in my mind, is B tier for sure. Were in B tier, I kind of want to think about this again, because I'm not sure if the last time I made a tier list. Yeah, I had already played K-Brad the last time I'd played a tier. K-Brad is the Trish, in my opinion, like playing the best team for Chris. There's also Crown Thunder's Trish as well. And isn't there one more Trish? On top of that? I think Trish is a character who, I think overall, I think she's better than Storm. I think she's better than... Do I think she's better than... Thor? I think Thor's under Spiderman, maybe. For me, she's got top of the screen capabilities. She can stall, she can zone, and be quite frustrating. A lot of the characters in the cast are, again, she deletes half the cast, doesn't have to worry about them. She has even matches with a lot of the characters. It's that with optimal stuff, she can kill. Basically, if you're playing Trish, Vergil, Dante, Trish may cry. She's really strong. If you're playing her with the best stuff, I think she is a really capable character. I think she doesn't really do enough. I think potentially she has the best or the second best dive kick in the game. The best dive kick being Kidnap. Kidnap is the best dive kick in the game because she has such amazing rush down off that button because she gets really strong push block negation off it when she dashes through, and she also gets a ton of frame advantage off it. I think Trish is reasonably strong. I just don't think she's strong enough to put her above the rest of them. She's not really a support character. She's a point character, and she is a support character in the sense, like, for example, Dante in the UK played for years and years and years, plays Dante, Trish, Frank, and them two level up Frank off everything. Trish is really good for Frank, and you can DHC to her round trip super. But it's one of them where it's just really niche, and it's not so strong that I'm thinking, oh my word, Trish. It's not the support levels of like even Arthur or Haggar, I don't think. It's not applicable without meter. Her assists aren't that great, although her high voltage assist I actually think is quite good. Because it's quite a slow startup assist. So you can call it, be all the way over to them. And the assist will come later. No, I'm not doing any modded characters. The answer, JC. Just your main roster, because I'm a competitive player, and that's what I think about. Rocket Raccoon. In my mind, previously I might have ranked Rocket Raccoon A tier, and I might have put Rocket above Ammy but below Strange. And I think now I'm of the opinion that his 2 main assists, Pendulum, Log Trap, and Spitfire twice, are so good, and his trap is so applicable and usable by a lot of characters to like sort of like just slow down neutral. I know he's not got the damage engine, and I know Strange's got that one good assist, but when he's on field, Rocket is actually still capable. Spitfire is actually ridiculous. It's a ridiculous assist. I feel like Spitfire is drones light, but for some characters actually really is better than drones. And also really comboable. It's one of those assists that because they're it's like two little peas traveling across the screen, I feel like you underestimate how well they can be used in combos. I think he's such a good support character, and yeah, I think he can fill an anchor slot, although I do think that he needs X Factor. He needs X Factor to do stuff. Without X Factor, he's a bit annoying, but you're not threatened. And yes, once he's got assists, and if he's got X Factor, he aces 100%. He's a really annoying character, and I feel like he again will just. Yeah, the hurtbox size, the teleports when you commit to things, his little burrows, his ability to set up traps around him and then hit you with his crouch heavy, which is, for a lot of characters who like to approach from the air, it's the same reason that I think Iron Fist Rising Fang Assist is extremely good, because a lot of characters at the top of the list want to dash at you, want to jump and then dash at you. Your Morrigans, your Dantes, your even MODOKs and Magnetos, Novas. The reason that I think Rising Fang Assist is so good is because it hits that jump arc to normal jump height and hits a lot of characters trying to come down from super jump height or across from normal jump height. It's exactly what Rocket does with crouch heavy. It's the little gun. It is crouch heavy, isn't it? The gunshot that he shoots, and the fact that it's cancelable into all of his other stuff just makes it that much better. I think he is overall one of the best support characters in the game, but I think his limited damage and his lack of applicability, I think, to a lot of characters, a lot of teams, maybe makes him that little bit less than, say, an S-tier support character for me, in my mind. I mean, not many. I mean, right, in matchup and experience, yeah, probably actually is something. But again, I'm assuming with tier list, and I said this at the start of the stream, I'm assuming perfect. Well, in terms of human levels of perfect, top level play, top level execution, top level decision making, top level knowledge of your character, and top level knowledge of your opponent's characters as well. And also, I'm assuming picking the best team makeups for your team as well. Punisher had the best Rocket. I can say, yeah, probably Punisher. Yeah, very good. Punisher also had like the good Iron Fist. You know what I'm talking about. And then I think Rocket's happy there. Viper, Sea MILF. Viper, for me, she was always that theory character who never lived up to the theory because the executional demand of her was so rarely met. I think your full schedules, and I think your, even Marlin Pie to an extent, like your full schedule really showed what the character is capable of, and at that level, I think that she is S tier when executed correctly, and that's what I'm assuming here. I'm still assuming realistic levels of execution. Fiji Greed, I think it's just Fiji Greed and Crazy Joe pretty much who are playing Viper out there. Also, there was a new player who came into the stream and played me in 130 MS and was hitting some lovely combos and hit confirms with Viper. He's entered TNS this Friday, so you should see him this Friday, hopefully. Hopefully he'll make a little bit of a splash when he's not playing on 130 MS. He has some sick confirms with all of his characters. He was playing Viper Doom Dante, I think. He was really good. Remember, Spencer here is still floating. Spencer's still floating because I'm still undecided about Zipfinite. So Spencer's going to move later. I think Viper's better than Firebrand. I think her damage, her neutral tools in I-beam and rapid fire seismos, and also burn kicks, and also EX moves, gives her a ton of versatility and variety, which keeps you thinking about what's going to happen. I think her option selects are really strong as well. Her option selects are actually kind of messed up. Her air dash being like, she gets from full super jump height down so fast, the way she accelerates is interesting. like her ability to punish assists and keep punishing them and keeping your point character at bay, her unblockable setups. I keep using my fingers like I'm probably on like this many, but I keep going just changing how many fingers I'm using. Like her ability to just unblockable half the cast has no answer to her unblockable, really, if timed correctly, and a lot of good characters struggle with it as well. She's very good, and I think 3-point in the TNS ratio, maybe. I think she's a really good character. I think she's S tier, and I think you only need to look at full schedule to appreciate that she is capable of fighting a lot of what gets put out there. She can fight the top tier assists and stop them in the tracks herself whilst using top tier assists. That's another point. She uses a lot of the best characters in the game. She uses the Dantes, she uses the Dooms, she uses the Striders, she uses who else? She uses Magneto, she can use MODOK, she can use Vergil. She doesn't use any bounces up herself, so she not only does she do good damage herself and build good meter, but she can DHC. She uses a lot of the best characters in the game. She even uses like things like Dormammu and Zero and Iron Man, Hawkeye. She can use pretty much everything in the game. She can use Morrigan. I mean, the issue is no one plays her. Again, I'm assuming that this is just the best of the players available with the best execution. It's not about who plays her rather than what is she capable of within realistic theory. So obviously there's theory where it's like, oh my god, yeah, if someone in theory can execute in training mode this, but is it viable for that person to execute it under tawny pressure for one, and consistently without dropping it? Yeah, training mode is its own thing, but I mean, it's not live play. It is not realistic top level play theory, and that's what I'm going off here for this. So Viper for me, she hits top of S, not top of S. She hits the top of the list roughly. She's an S tier character in my mind. I think there's better characters though. Wesker obviously started Ultimate's life, won an Evo, and then got some changes into Vanilla. In, say, for example, not being able to combo full screen with his gunshot teleport himself, but he can still do it with things like Disruptor. Being a Dark Anchor at the very early life of Ultimate, and also being an OTG assist, just propelled him right to the top of tier list very early on. But then gradually people saw the linear nature of him, and I think personally, for me, Wesker overall is a point character who is still good but is very linear, and I think that sort of puts him, for me, I think overall I'd put him maybe above Akuma, but below Shuma. I think a good point Wesker is more applicable and fights a lot of stuff better than a lot of teams that would rely solely on Tatsu assist. Yeah, Vergil did take his place somewhere. So yeah, I mean, he's in the middle of these tiers. He's in the middle of that tier list. He's very mid Wesker. The fact that he needs to take a risk and spend a bar at the start of a lot of games, it's actually a decent option, and then sometimes you don't use it. It's a bit of a mix-up. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's mid. I don't think he's overall as good as Shuma personally, but it's a tight thing. You know, he's the hero hereabouts. If I was going to rank him, you know, I don't think he's as good as a Deadpool or a Strange or a Rocket. I don't think he's as good as an Ammy or a Chun or a Viewtiful Joe, but I do, and I think Shuma's roughly around about the same. So these guys are the same sort of spot, but I think Wesker's still good. When played appropriately with the appropriate teams, I think he's a good character. You can win with him. And I think, generally speaking, you know, he beats a lot of characters. He zones a lot of characters. He's very fast. He's got a command grab. He's got good lows. He's got good buttons overall. I think he's still relevant. But he's just one of those where a lot of characters give him a lot of trouble. A lot of characters at the top especially give him a lot of trouble. We've reached the boy. Bub. We've reached Bubby Boy. We reached Wolverine. Logan. Wolverine. Early on, extremely strong. Even like halfway through the life, still very strong. And then gradually Zero replaced him, gradually Morrigan replaced him, gradually Nova replaced him, Magneto replaced him as like the premier top tier. He does have, in my opinion, still one of the best 99s in the game. Like, I think really some of the best 99s in the game go to Hulk, to Zero, to Magneto to MODOK and Wolverine. Like, he's up there with one of the best 99s in the game. Ammy also has an extremely good 99, just because she has the fastest jab in the game at 3 frames, and a decent throw game. But he still hits instant overheads. Oh, Firebrand, best 99 as well. Morrigan, yeah. I think Wolverine is one of those where his 99, though, even those other characters don't want to contend with his 99 quite so often, because yes, he might only have a 4-frame jab, and like Zero might have like a 3-frame crouch light. If I recall correctly, it's 3 frames to 0, isn't it? Yes, he might not have like the fastest light, and he might be beatable in certain senses at certain spacings. His only strength, though, in a lot of matchups is 99. So a lot of other characters at 99 don't want to deal with that, because once you do get away, his stock value plummets. So while other characters might have equal value 99s to him, they don't want to deal with Wolverine's 99, because once you make space, his value plummets. So that is one thing. He does decent damage, simple combos, and I'm thinking here tournament play. Like, this is all based around, in my mind, tournament play, and considering what is theory player viable in a tournament setting. Casuals, I think Wolverine's value is much lower than it is in tournament. In tournament, I think his value goes way up, because he's simple, he's effective, he's scary. When you are under tournament pressure, having to block lows and berserker slashes and throws and dive kicks, it becomes a matter of composure and nerves. And at that point, both the player using Wolverine deals better with those nerves. If you're playing something technical, really technical, your nerves are going to affect you harder than Wolverine's play will. With whatever characters you're playing, if they're more technical than Wolverine. He's simple, and I think that's really valuable in tournament play. Personally, and this might be divergent from some other tier lists, I think that Wolverine is a better character than Deadpool, and I think we can... the tier list is broke. The tier list will not let me put him in. No, I'll have to swap it that way. He's fallen hardest in the past several years. You think so? I think Wesker's fallen way harder than Wolverine. Potentially. But Wolverine, I still put him towards the top of A. Now, there are still more characters to come, potentially, who could pip into there. But I think he's top of A, personally, in my opinion. I think... Hsien Ko should be in D-. Wolverine, I think his damage, his simplicity, and just his speed, his raw speed, like the way that you can play footsies with Wolverine is still valuable within the tier list. I think he fights a lot of characters better than maybe a lot of people think still. And I say that from my experience and from what I've seen. Like, Justin Wong is Justin Wong. A lot of people were doing well with Wolverine. I mean, Punk's still doing well with Wolverine. Like, PR Rog was just rabid, and Jellic is doing well with Wolverine. I think like there are matchups that he does really well in, and I think potentially, like, if he gets zoned hard by certain matchups, but he's always got the potential of slipping under or over a lot of that zoning. One slip up from a Zero or a Morrigan means that he's dive kicking them and he's killing because he does the damage. One slip up, and that makes the pressure that they feel in neutral while trying to zone him a little bit heightened. I feel like Magneto is one of his worst matchups. Trish is one of his worst matchups. So he's got some really crap matchups against some really crap characters. I feel like Tron versus Wolverine is a really interesting matchup. I feel like a lot of characters. Chris for Wolverine is a really tough matchup, but I feel like he fights a lot of characters in the upper tiers better than maybe people appreciate, in my opinion. As a Wolverine player, like, there's a reason I've not dropped him, and you might argue that reason is, of course, because I come from a smaller pool of players within the European scene, and maybe, you know, you can say I've not had it beaten out of me. Maybe you could argue that, and I'll appreciate that argument's valid. But I'm thinking theory, and, you know, the way I feel about Wolverine comes from what I know Wolverine's capable, and seeing players like Angelic and Justin Wong. There's a reason that Justin Wong was capable of that moment where he slips past everything and making it work. And even like Justin Wong won an Evo, Angelic's won majors, Angelic's pushed the best players to their limits and beaten them. Angelic is godlike. And it's because Wolverine has the very specific tools that he does that allow him to just make moments happen and make people feel pressure. Yeah, everybody's talking about Hsien Ko. That's the gist. I think, for me, Wolverine, top of A. And then we come to Whackbot, Sentinel. Sentinel, for me, one of the better support characters in the game. His assist is one of the best, top 10, easy. You could argue top 5 for drones, potentially, but it is easily nullifiable. Once it's out, it's hard to deal with its durability and push through, but you need like a big heavy disruptor into a plasma beam behind it to stop the durability. However, it is stoppable. But once it's on the screen, like Magneto and Zero and a lot of characters, Firebrand even, a lot of characters get really, really strong mix-ups out of drones, or really strong space control. It's rough for a lot of characters. Like Doom, for example, a lot of good characters get a hell of a lot from drones. It's really nice. The only real applicable invulnerable super in the air, because Phoenix obviously doesn't want to spend that bar, and Morrigan has to spend 3 bars for hers, so it's the most applicable level 1 invulnerable super. Which means if you have him on your team, there's a very good chance, because he's got a double jump and because he's got that invulnerable super, there's a very good chance you get 4 chances. Oh, no, sorry, not 4 chances. It's a very good chance that you get to play with your second character. So Sentinel, for me, I think he's a very good support character with a lot of faults. For me, I rank him just about, I think, Chun is this thorn in my side because of Chun Mori Doom. Ryan LV's really put a thorn in my side there. I'm going to put him beneath Ammy, and I'm going to put him beneath Chun. I think Sentinel. Billy B. Ray with the 0Z tier. Welcome. I think he's got anchor capability. X Factor 3, you've seen Ray do it. Top level Sentinel is scary because he has enough buttons and zoning space. Like he can exist at spacing where if you move into that zone, you're eating a stank leg and you're eating a frying pan if you try and challenge, or a rocket punch is coming. The invulnerable super is always a threat, and if he has X Factor, he can just blast through with a Tiger Knee Hyper Sentinel Force. Not Hyper Sentinel Force, a hard drive is really scary. And also, if you're pressuring too hard, that hard drive, you can't X Factor it. It's a really tough thing to pressure Sentinel. 1, because of armor, but 2, because of the threat of that super and the fact that you cannot X Factor to save yourself. For some reason, it just is already occupying your hitbox when you X Factor, and it hits you, and there's no way. Something about the way it's programmed doesn't work. I kind of want to move him above Chun, but I just think Chun is so good in the place that she is. A flamey boy, Dormammu. Okay, I don't know what's going to happen here in terms of I don't remember where other people place Dormammu on tier lists. I don't know where other people do. Dormammu is a character who is, for me, he's a support character without an assist, which defines neutral. Dark Hole, in my mind, is his best neutral assist by far. Liberation's alright. I think Dormammu has a damage and assist, which is good for neutral because it occupies space and it has like 45 durability or something like that. So I think it's 40. I think it's 9 hits, 5 durability each. It's 45 durability. It absorbs. It's a good absorption. It's a good absorbing neutral assist, provided it doesn't get clapped before it comes out. It's also good at occupying space. If you call Dark Hole and move into it, it's good for that as well. So the assist is okay, but it's nothing special. It does good damage and good meter build. It's okay for combos, and a lot of characters with slow OTGs and slow recovery on their OTGs can combo using it. His support, though, with either a strong TAC combo, which can, you get 3 Dark Holes off all of his TAC options, or potentially, if you are going to go for it, potentially a TAC Infinite. I still, in my mind, do not think his TAC Infinite is reliable enough to go for in tournament setting over and over and over again. I think you're just going to drop it more than it's worth doing when you could just get 3 Dark Holes out of your TAC combo and make it meter efficient. You can kill like that and then end with the Stalking Flare or DHC back through to your point character. Chaotic Flame. If only the starter for his Infinite was practical, I think Dormammu would be serious contender. Stalking Flare and Chaotic Flame are 2 of the best supers in the game in my mind. There are better supers, but Chaotic Flame as a punish and as a damaging super is really strong, and the fact that then you can X-Factor it and do more off it. It's also great when he's on point because it's a great punish, and it's just such a normal jump height containing super. It controls that space and it's a threat at all times. You can push block into it and punish people that way. You can kill assists with it, so on and so forth. Stalking Flare as a DHC is extremely good. Stalking Flare as a DHC is great. It's plus on block. It's safe. It allows you to set up other things like unblockables. It allows you to set up welcome mix-ups. It allows you to get frame advantage. Oh yeah, that's a good point, Aces. It allows you to get frame advantage to gain additional spells. Dormammu obviously loves spells. It does chip on welcome, which then lets you call assists, which then lets you chuck your spells. You can have a character taking 150k damage immediately as they come in and then suffer zoning or more mix-ups. Like there's a lot you can do with him. That is just fantastic support. In my mind, he is one of the best support characters who does not have a decent assist. A lot of characters have good assists and trash support in other ways. He is one of the best support characters, one of the best seconds in the game, and also, if you have the right characters, he's also one of the best damage DHCs as well. So Magneto and Zero, although Zero doesn't need it, but Magneto, Nova, and just a lot of characters. Akuma, interestingly, Firebrand, they get the Stalking Flare DHC into the spells or into, depending on how you set up, a lot of them get Jump S and then can, as Aces does, extend with Nova Assist for big damage in addition to the damage of the DHC itself. An additional meter gain, which is really important for this game. Doom 2, he can do photon arrays into it, can't he? Super jump height. Thor? Oh, does Thor get it too? Interesting. It's really good. He's really meter efficient, and then himself on point. He actually deals with a lot of characters quite well. A lot of characters have issues with him. Characters who have teleports really mess up Dormammu, I think. Like Vergil and Strange, and sometimes Wesker and Phoenix. If they've got a teleport, it makes life really hard for Dormammu, although he still has counters for that. But a lot of characters he deals with really well, especially if he has meter to burn. If he can dump meter, he can really put the screws on a lot of good characters in the game. It's really hard for characters to deal with it. If he's got meter and assists, if he's coming in with an advantage, he's got really good stuff. He's got good normals to boot, like you say there, Billy. It's one of those where, for me personally, me knowing what he does, me knowing the advantageous setups that he sets up, he facilitates unblockables. He facilitates really strong welcome mix-ups when you DHC through Stalking Flare and kill with that. Like he sets up Viper, he sets up Magneto, he sets up Zero with unblockables, he sets up Firebrand, he sets up, like, there's so many characters that he sets up. Even like Iron Fist, like he sets up Iron Fist to actually have a mix-up. Like, well, I mean, come on, it's not a good mix-up, but it is. For me, because of the support, because of the value, and because he actually has a chance of fighting Morrigan he actually makes Morrigan respect some stuff. His 3 red spell, the explosion, his 2 red, 1 blue, where the volcano that erupts, and situationally also his 2 blue, 1 red spell, the meteors that come down. Situationally, that's really good. Morrigan's actually really good at fighting Dormammu, but I think Dormammu is quite good at fighting Morrigan. I think that's important. For me, he's an S tier character who I personally think is better than Morrigan and Firebrand overall. I think he's better because he supports better characters than them, I think, and also fights some better characters quite well too. I think overall he's better than those 2 characters. Oh, and we reach the first of the damned, the first of the boys. Zero. Best damage in the game, free. Some of the best neutral in the game, free. Lightnings, busters, Sugenmu, unblockables. He's got pretty much everything. He can suffice as an anchor. He's the most meter efficient point in the game. In fact, he might not be that meter efficient because oftentimes he can kill. Too quick. I mean, he's doing so much damage. In fact, no, that's just even more efficient. But basically, he's doing tons of damage. Basically, a lot of the time, though, a lot of confirms he doesn't build that much meter because then he goes into one Sugenmu and does 600k on that Sugenmu, whilst because the assist got him the hit, that type of thing. Zero for me is better than Jean. I think he's better than Jean, and I think he is currently on this list the best character going so far. His strengths are the normal speed that he has. He's got the crouch and light, which is 3 frames, I think. His mediums are good. His stand heavy is great. His jump heavy is great. His jump light is pretty good situationally. If you can fuzzy characters, you can instant overhead with them. He's got the teleports. Is it 4 frames? I think it is 4 frames. Or is it? Let me just double check on the Bible because it's one thing in my mind where I swear he got a 3 frame crouch light. It's just that the crouch light is slightly stubby. Ammy and Dark Phoenix. Fine, I'll have a list on this. Bear with me. I actually have a full on list. I went through all the characters. I don't think I have it open right now though. Do I? I don't think I do. Or do I? Do I have it open? No, I don't have it open at the moment. Where is Zero? Where's Zero in the list here? Zero, page 560. Right, Zero, there we go. And his normals. No, it is 4 frames. Crouch light is 4 frames. Yeah. 4 frames. So the 4 frame crouch light, one of the fastest in the game. Why did I think it was 3? Maybe I'm overestimating Zero again. So he's got one of the fastest lights in the game, and a 5 frame stand light, which the stand light has actually got ridiculous range. He's got stuff like his magic series. Weirdly, his crouching magic series gets hit a lot by Haggar Lariat. Where is he? Haggar, there he is. But his stand heavy, like his standing magic series, can go on, literally standing light, medium, heavy goes under Haggar and then hits Haggar. And a lot of the time, if you've got their main character in block stun or you're hitting them, what happens is stand heavy will hit the point character 3 times, then which is all of its hits, then the invulnerability runs out on Lariat, and weirdly, even though it's already hit the point character 3 times, it then hits Lariat 3 times as well, whilst hitting the point character again. It's really weird. So he low profiles a lot of stuff. He's a very small hitbox. He's a very floaty hitbox, so combos drop on him quite frequently. Lightning is one of the best neutral tools in the game, as well as Buster being cancelable. His damage is insane. His welcome mix-ups are amongst the best in the game. It's just one of these things where he is so good. He also synergizes extremely well with Doom, with missiles, with what am I calling it? With pretty much everything, like plasma, missiles, rocks, disruptor, strange bolts, Dante jam, Strider, Vajra, with dark harmonizer. He basically goes best with all of the best assists in the game. He does really well. And then I mentioned them before, Dormammu, if you kill with Stalking Flare, DXE to Stalking Flare, the next character you can unblockable with Zero by just using Sugenmu, and he's so meter efficient that he's built that Sugenmu, and he gets to kill meterlessly with a lot of characters right there. Needless to say, he's a very good character. Iron Man, the Iron Boy. Iron Man is a struggle. I actually made a joke before where basically he's got like third strike confirms where he has to do like light, medium, level 3 at a lot of ranges. Like you can't just do light, medium, like heavy, fly into like the jump loop and then make it all work. Some ranges you literally have to do like jab, jab, super basically. Like it's third strike or something. Like he's a struggle. A lot of his stuff works, a lot of his stuff doesn't. It's really struggling. However, he does have one of the best assists in the game and another assist which is really good for facilitating this boy right here. Unblockables for him, and also I suppose for Viper as well, but Unibeam, one of the best assists in the game. Technically, I think it is better than Plasma Beam. Apart from the fact that Plasma Beam comes out so far behind your point character. Other than that, making it sort of like an assist you can call while tech rolling, Doom. Plasma, Iron Man's Unibeam, I think is better overall than Plasma. It leaves them standing, you can do more combos off it, you get more frame advantage to combo off it. It leaves them in place rather than pushing them away, so it's easier to convert. It's interesting. It's an interesting assist, really good. And then he has his TAC infinites, which are amongst the most practical TAC infinites in the game. He also facilitates this girl right here. So he's one of the better supports in the game. He's one of the best supports in the game. I feel like overall, he's more applicable to more teams than, say, even Shuma is. I think he's better than Shuma. I think he's better than Viewtiful Joe as well overall. I think he's sort of... Imagine, for God's sake, look where I've put these boys. Do I think he's better than Chun? I don't think overall he's better than Chun. It's so hard to compare those things. Like, I'm comparing him as an assist with a TAC Infinite and all the rest of it to Chun's point value versus her TAC Infinite support versus her, one applicable assist that, is good for Morrigan and maybe a couple of other characters. I think Iron Man sits around there. He's extremely mid. He's got S-tier-esque applications of his assist and his TAC Infinite, which facilitates, this guy and her as well, and some other characters who love Meter as well. But he's such a liability. It's kind of like... I actually made the comparison between Iron Man and Iron Fist before. I said the words in the Marvel Discord before. Iron Man is a bigger struggle than Iron Fist. And what I meant by that was, playing Iron Man is such a, it's such a, you're either winning or you're losing type situation. Because if he ends up on point, I feel like he's only got his mashable TAC to get his team super. You mash his TAC and he's got a 3-frame startup super, which hits before the flash. That's really good. But other than that, X Factory's got some self mix-ups left, right. He can kill a few characters. If you guess the 50-50s wrong in a row, you guess one 50-50 wrong, you got a 1 in 2 chance. You guess 2, that's a 1 in 4 chance. 1 in 8 chance that you guess 3 50-50. In fact, no, that doesn't make any sense because you're not going to do 3 welcome mix-ups, are you? So it's actually a 1 in 4 chance to get you 2 characters killed by those 2 50-50s. If that's how odds work, isn't it? That's how odds. If it's 50-50 chance the first time, then the second one will be a quarter chance overall. But then naturally, if he doesn't kill your characters, or he's coming in unwelcome, his air dashes aren't good. His air dashes are super slow to accelerate. He's not got great buttons coming in, really. If you meaty him and pressure him, you can bring him down to the ground and pressure him for free. If you want a left-right mix-up, you can, because his air escape options aren't that great. I think he's a solid A tier, like right there in the middle of the tiers. He's a good support character, but he doesn't do enough overall to support those characters as maybe he could, as a lot of these other characters can. Like, he's not a Doom. He's not that level of support. He's not even Dormammu level of point character when he's out on the field while giving that same level of support. I think he's mid A. I don't think he's bad, but I don't think he's great. I do think Hawkeye A tier, and I think he's high A tier, and I'm sort of torn as to exactly where to put him. I think he might be the best A tier character, Hawkeye, because of his assist and because of his nullification of so much of the cast. Like, he is outzoning all the other zoners. Like, I think he is actually capable of fighting Morrigan with good assists. He's going toe for toe with Zero Zone, and he probably outzones Zero. I don't think he outzones Morrigan, but I think he zones He zones the bad characters. He struggles with characters that have great mobility, who can get around. But if it's coming to zoning, he is the anti-zoning zoner. That's the archetype that he follows. He will beat Dormammu. He will beat Doom. He will beat out Strider's zoning. Apart from the teleports that start coming at you. If Zero starts to try and zone, he's going to beat that zoning. Zero has to then outmaneuver, and Zero actually has some slow, floaty movement. His assist is good. His Kiss of Fire DHC is good. Gimlet, maybe. You can DHC to Gimlet, X-Factor it, and then get full combos off it. Like, Flocker makes that character look really good. Dual Kevin makes that character look really good. I think, optimally played, have you seen Milky's Hawkeye? If you've not seen Milky's Hawkeye, go and Google that. Go YouTube that, because Milky's Hawkeye is fire. Milky's playing Hawkeye Point with Doom Dante behind it. I think it's Dante Doom because he plays with the THC. The THC with Dante is extremely good. I think he's a better character than Wolverine. I think he's a better character than Deadpool. I think he's better than Rocket and Strange and Ammy. I think, yeah, that's the gist of it. I don't think there's too much more to say about him. I think he's got good assist value, decent safe DHC, and then with X Factor 3 can make things happen. And also, if you spend your X Factor, it can be quite bad for you, but also if you've only got zoning characters left, this is the thing. You put Hawkeye Anchor on your team because you got a good assist. Who is left on Anchor for all of the good teams in the game? You're playing Zero, Doom, Vergil. Who gets killed first? Zero. Who gets killed second? Vergil. Who is left? Doom. Hawkeye versus Doom is what's left at the end of those two teams. If you're playing Hawkeye, you're playing a very anti, and again, I don't like the word, but anti-meta, anti like sort of a tier list team. It's really effective in that sense. It's a strong thing. He also then, might also then have good matchups versus other characters that might be left, like a Dormammu, like a Strange, for example, who might get left at the end, like a Sentinel, like an Iron Man who might get left at the end, like a Shuma. He's got good matches versus a lot of these other common anchor characters, and potentially Akuma, Hawkeye Akuma. Do you know, I've not seen that. I'm just going to hold my hands up and say, yeah, I've not really got the knowledge to talk about that matchup that much, but I feel like it's a matter of Hawkeye's going to be able to hit any, if he's got meter, he's going to be able to hit any demon flip. But Akuma has to, because of his low life, stay above the stuff that he's throwing out there, the chaff that he's throwing. He's chucking serious projectiles. You think he has to stay grounded? Yeah, I can sort of see it. You can get the occasional cheeky thing, but it's the same thing as Doom being so reliant on his dashes for movement, and Dawn the same way. Like, it's tricky. He has a rough time versus a lot of characters who don't zone, or don't have to zone, like Magneto, like Wolverine. I think he probably has a tough time versus Wesker as well. A lot of characters that can just move. Firebrand's going to give him a hard time because it's just rush down. He's going to struggle with a lot. But a lot of characters who have chunky movement, slow movement, rely on specials and Zero with his teleports, like that type of thing. He's going to be able to do well against them. And I think he does well against Nova as well. I think he does relatively well once set up versus Hulk, Dante. How does he do versus MODOK? Hawkeye versus MODOK, because he's got stuff that goes up. He's got his shit that goes straight up, doesn't he? How high does that go? I feel like MODOK's a big target. I feel like MODOK might have a little bit of trouble with Hawkeye, especially once Hawkeye's stocked with some meter. But Nova next. Nova, we are down to our final 7 characters, and all of them are pretty good. So it's that level of support, Ohms. It's that level of support that Iron Man provides, I think. I mean, if we're talking, you could pretty much say they're in the same spot. It's not really above. I've put them there, but depending on the day, depending on the theory, depending on whatever it is, you know how it goes. Nova, for me, is going to go above Strider and below Doom. I've said before, Doom is my top 1 S tier character. He's the best support character in the game. I feel like Nova is one of the best point characters in the game. I feel like his movement is really, really annoyingly fast and deceptive and awkward. He can choose how far he moves, of course, horizontally. His air dash down back, his air dash down forward are actually really good too. His air dash up forward is really good for welcome mix-ups. His dolphin kick, obviously we talked about this in the UK Discord recently. A lot of people talk about moves like the the slide that She-Hulk has, or Wolverine, that Hawkeye has. We talk about how Morrigan can low profile stuff with her hitbox. Wolverine can low profile with crouch and light. Low profiling is a thing. Nova high profiles things. He moves, so he's traveling along, and then his dolphin kick removes all of the bottom of his hitbox, and then he swings over the top of his head. It's a really strong move. He's got really, really strong, even air dash jump like light, like air dash forward jump like light is really good for a double overhead. His Nova head, instant Nova head is really good. Try up and down, straight down. He can actually cross you up with his up and down light is basically his instant Nova head. It's actually ridiculous. He can sit full screen happily. The thing that separates Nova out from the rest of a lot of these characters is he is super comfortable at full screen. He's a rushdown character who will sit full screen, and he can play one of the best flowchart games going in Marvel. His flowchart game is so strong. So he can sit full screen, put a shield up, throw a javelin, call an assist, and then move. And then if that assist hits or he hits, he's in, and it will DHC to his damage engine. It works really well. Or it doesn't hit. He backs off. Another shield if he gets the space for it. If you don't rush him down fast enough, he'll call his assist again to make space for the shield. Once the shield's up, he can then wait for you to come in. Once you come in, you're dealing with the risk here, because he might grab you before you hit shield. He might hit you with shield. He might mix you up after you block shield. You might get hit by shield accidentally. It's tough. It's really rough. And that shield is durable enough to actually deal with a lot of durability from a lot of assists, especially if he's taking any chip damage, because the red life shield is really good. So he's so good at sitting full screen, and then there's so many options to flowchart in. And then once he gets a hit, DHC to his damage option or hard tag to his damage option, and kill characters, and then tag back to Nova, put the shield out, and this is where it starts to get messed up. You've seen Moon Knight, you've seen Liberal Terminator, you've seen Coach Steve. You put the shield out at such a space where the character falls in. Oh, you've seen Aces. Shit, how did I forget Aces? You put the shield on the screen at a space in where if a character presses buttons on the way in, they're dead. If they fall in, the shield hits them when they try to like alternate, like maybe even like try and block the other way. If they try and hold the other way to block a cross up, the shield will hit. If they try and press buttons, it will hit. If they try and escape, Nova can catch them. It's messed up, man. It's messed up. If they try to do anything, it's an assist. Sorry, it's not an assist. It is an assist. He puts it out there. He assists himself and then calls another assist. So he gets these layers that the opponent is almost unable to do anything about. They have to sit and block the mix-ups, and his mix-ups are good. His mix-ups are fast. His mix-ups are layered and come with throws and assists, and it's messed up. His welcome mix-ups are some of the best flow-charted mix-ups in the game. I think, for me, if you're a DBFC player, Nova's the character for you. Nova to me is the closest thing to the way DBFC plays. If you've never played DBFC, you can call assists at any time during anything other than supers. So you can do really long block strings that can't be push blocked, and then you can do a special and call an assist at the last possible moment to give you maximum frame advantage, and you will always have exactly the same spacing with exactly the same frame advantage and exactly the same ability to mix up and run a flowchart. Nova facilitates almost exactly that. I think he's better at doing that than even something like Jason Kido's team, where he lays flame carpet, stalking flare, pushing block stun, and then Haggar does it to you. It's a similar thing, but I think, no disrespect to DBFC players, DBFC is a really difficult game to play in its own right. You all have the ability to do this, and some players are really exceptional at defense and making decisions around that, and actually mixing people up and understanding how to mix people up on that system. The other thing that Nova got going for him, again, he uses all of the best assists in the game. It is a super, exactly that. It is just super dash. Yeah, all right, you've sealed it now for me, Mothman. That's perfect. The other thing is that he is a character who, personally, I really don't like snapping to anchor. If it's a Nova Doom Strider team, if it's a Nova Spencer Doom team, I want to kill Nova. I don't want Nova at the back. Nova, in my mind, is a better anchor than Doom or Strider. Sorry, Doom or Spencer. And then he's up there with me. Like, I feel like Vergil's an easier anchor to deal with than Strider, than Nova. Nova as an anchor is just madness. X Factor 3 Nova just actually, he's the most terrifying anchor in the game to me. Like, it's just scary. I don't like him being at the back there, and I feel like Nova players actually play for this. And the one thing that I haven't mentioned right now, of course, he's got full screen super. He's got a nice damaging ball super that's actually, that super deals with a lot of stuff well. Like for example, a lot of things that you can DHC to will go under Nova when he's in his ball super and then get punished by the ball super itself. So I'd say also kind of hard to punish the ball super. It's a little bit tricky. But the one thing that he does have is Human Rocket. That super is broke. That super is one of the most broken supers in the game, in my opinion. If he's got meter to DHC, if he's got assists to back him up, if he's got stuff like Strider, you see Marvello do Human Rocket with Vajra, it's broke, it's stupid, it's full screen, doesn't care about your projectiles, and you get him mixed up. No matter where you are on screen, these Nova players are piloting him. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they make him pilot the way he does. It's insane. So he's ridiculous. In my opinion, one of the best characters in the game. Top 10, easy. Top 8? Well, let's see where these last characters go. So Hulk, moving on to Hulk. Hulk as a character is crap. He's a crap character. And then you play him with Sentinel and you play him with Lariat. Yeah, I don't understand how you guys control him. You're all on LSD. You're all you're tripping balls on acid, and then you're just like, whoa, you're seeing like into the space-time continuum to make Human Rocket hit where you need it to hit. It's insane. I don't understand. But yeah, Hulk is a bad character, but when you put him with drones and you put him with Lariat, he can win an Evo. The synergy between Hulk and those other characters, and potentially even things like he actually does really well with Spitfire twice with Rocket. He does really well with Jam Session from Dante. Really good character, really good. Hulk for me is an A tier character. I think he is an A tier character because when played optimally, you are having to deal with Hulk. There's a matchup there that you either know and are going to play optimally and still struggle against at times because you make wrong decisions, he can put you in bad situations, or alternatively you're going to get bullied. But at top level play, I think he settles somewhere in the middle of A. I want to say just beneath Tony and Sen. I want to say maybe above Tony, but beneath Sen. I want to say beneath Sen, but above Tony. I'm gonna put him there. That's my position for Hulk. I think he's better than Viewtiful Joe's character. Overall, better than Wesker, Akuma. He's a much better character than Haggar, I think. Better than Shuma. Better than all these characters. He's more effective because he gets hits and he kills. It's hit, mix up, next game, please. It's as simple as that. He gets 50-50 mix-ups off Jam Session. He gets 50-50 mix-ups off Lariat. And I actually think the Jam Session one's better than Lariat in some ways. There's the strengths and weaknesses to both. Like, he does his 50-50 super jump mix-up with Jam or with Lariat. I think Lariat's better mid-screen than Jam for that. But in the corner, Jam is really, really hard to deal with. Then, here she is. I think that's enough about Hulk, really. There's characters that really put him in trouble. I even think Wolverine has a decent matchup versus Hulk. He's one of the characters that fights him at 99, in my opinion. And you go watch my Hulk video on that. Like that's the gist. Like go watch my Hulk video on that. Like that's educational for you. Wolverine, I think, deals with Hulk. Like there's a lot of characters who deal with Hulk, and once Hulk is struggling, getting zoned, and having to DHC Sentinel, it's rough. It's rough times. But if he gets that hit, gets that mix up, that's it. The game is done. It's the next one. In tournament as well, that's extremely effective. We've all seen what KBR can do, and he is the model for it. Next up, Morrigan. Here she is. It's Morrigan. For me, where do I even start? Some of the best normals in the game. Some of the fastest normals. One of the best high-lows in the game. Some of the best low-profiling normals. Her entire Magic series, light, medium, heavy, low profiles doing Plasma Beam. She's got some of the best evasive movement. Some of the best dashing, throw option selects. Some of the best buttons. But then I feel like she doesn't have sword normals, but she does have a really quick start up Soul Fist. And when she does that Soul Fist, you want to get to her there, and she puts a Soul Fist here. And suddenly, you either have to be approaching her from above and have something that's not going to get clapped by this. So Helmbreaker is going to hit by that Soul Fist. So you need to be able to hit her and get beyond this Soul Fist here. But she's flown and is able to act immediately because a fly startup is really quick. It's like, did I say it's the 3rd fastest in the game behind MODOK? Is it MODOK? Nova's, I think, does Nova have the fastest fly in the game? It's either number 2 or number 3 fastest fly in the game. I can't remember what it was. And then she can act again. So she's got these buttons that press. Super good. And she's got these fireballs. Nova's is 10 frames. Yeah, and then I think hers is like 15, I think, something like that. So she's flying, and then she's unflying, or she's pressing something else that's really strong, or throwing another fireball that's going to hit you. The fireball allows her to gain frame advantage. It allows her to prevent you from approaching. It allows her then to stipulate what happens next in neutral. It allows her then to call an assist. Her movement options, her ability to negate push block as a fireball, you're trying to push block her fireballs and stop it from getting in. It's second to none. Her tiny hurt box rather, is one of the hardest to hit in the game. Her 950k health pool. All of this amounts to her being a great character, and then you factor in Astral. If she has Astral, your character is having to respect it. She controls neutral better than any other character in the game, and chips harder than any other character in the game. She chips the hardest if you block 3 of her fireballs. I think it's 33k chip per fireball. You know, you're on 100k damage in chip from 3 fireballs. It's nuts. It's so dangerous to just sit and take the chip. So you have to avoid her, and when you avoid her, you make mistakes, and when you make mistakes, you get flustered, and then your next character you hard tag in, and they die. They take 800k chip. And it doesn't matter that she doesn't kill off every hit. When she gets a hit, what she does is she will then either go into Astral and Soul Drain combo you, or she'll activate Astral and she'll have 3 Astrals basically in a row. And she puts you in a position where you're desperate to get out, and if she soul drains your characters, you are in a position where now you have very little meter, so you can't DHC out, or if you have 2 bars left just, you can DHC out, and your next characters are struggling just as much. So she wins if you DHC out, because you've no meter left. She wins if you hard tag, because the chances are you're going to get ping-ponged. You have to be so smart fighting her. The odds are stacked in her favour. She controls neutral like no other character. Even Zero, as good as he is, has to respect the neutral that she has to respect the buttons, has to respect the fireballs, has to respect Astral. Sugenmu is decent at fighting her, but Sugenmu doesn't build meter back. She does. She can be building back meter through stray hits on your assist. She can meter drain you at the same time, and she also has things like Harmonizer assist. That assist is broken. That assist is the only real viable meter build assist because of its speed, because of the fact that it gets out on screen and builds your meter no matter what, and because it recovers so quick and you can call it again so quick. So Chun, Morrigan, Magneto, Morrigan. How many fingers am I going to use on this? All of the Morrigan teams work extremely well. She is both the best partner for Phoenix in the game, as well as her worst enemy. So not only does she facilitate Vergil having ridiculous amounts of sword pressure, Dormammu building tons of meter, Zero doing tons of Zogemus and successive mix-ups, she also counters the best anchor in the game. She is the hard counter to Phoenix. She will steal Phoenix's meter, and if you play Morrigan as part of your main team, you don't have to worry about Phoenix because you have so many counters to her. For me, the way Morrigan controls the neutral, the way she doesn't have to fight even neutral, like 4/5 of the cast is irrelevant. 80% of the cast is irrelevant to Morrigan. She doesn't care. It doesn't even come into factor. And then against the rest of the cast, she goes even or better against the best of the cast. I feel like it's 5.5, 4.5. Ideal teams for Morrigan, ideal teams for Zero. I feel like she edges Zero out. I feel like she edges Nova out big time, actually. I feel like she edges Firebrand out. She edges Magneto out. We'll get to that. She edges Magneto out. I feel like she has good matchups against everyone and not a single bad matchup in the game. I feel like she just has good matchups against everyone. The worst is 5/5 for her, and I think that might come from something like, I mean, it might even be that Zero goes even with her just about, but yeah, I don't know if that's the case. I feel like Dorm Morrigan matchup. People throw around the idea that Dorm is capable of fighting Morrigan, and then they get too excited and they say Dorm is one of the few things that, you know, counters Morrigan, but I don't think he counters her. I just think he fights her. She has to respect 3 red. She has to respect 2 red, 1 blue. 2 blue, 1 red, the Meteor spell is a little bit risky because she can either be at full screen and it's not even going to affect her, or alternative, and then she can throw fireballs as it runs out of its active frames to then start putting things on the screen to counter, you know, to get over to Dormammu. But she can also, her movement speed is so fast across the screen. She can then counter Dormammu. She can get past the meteors, so that's a dangerous spell. The spells are great, and if you have meter to spend, it's good, but she has an invulnerable super and she can counter that. 1 bad heavy pillar means that Dormammu is punished. If she's ever able to get past a pillar, so if the pillar's here and she's on this side of it and then she moves forward and the pillar misses her, it's a punish. She full screen dashes and punishes Dormammu, unless you spend bar or X Factor. It's really tough for Dormammu, but it's also tough for her because she can eat 100k damage from a pillar here and there and just spill, and she can have a hard time in Astral because he can stall and actually build spells to get a favourable situation again. It is very situational. It's meter dependent, it's spell dependent, it's how much she can rush you down versus how much Dormammu can hit her. But if she sits at full screen and stands there, you can't hit her with a pillar. If she walks backwards, you can't hit her with a pillar. And if she jumps, I think you only hit her with like one hit of the pillar if she jumps up back. So not only it basically makes H pillar redundant, and I think you have to rely much more on spells and much more on your assists. It's really, really good. I've been playing a lot of Dormammu Jam, and I think Dormammu Jam is fairly good against her. And I have shown tech where half the time, and I don't know why half the time, yeah, she counters Dark Matter as well. Dark Matter doesn't touch her. And then she jumps over it. She's too high for it to hit when she jumps over it and dashes. But like for some reason, half the time when you do the Dorm Dante THC, Dorm gets hit in the back and Dante continues comboing, and that's great. But half the time, Dante gets hit in the back and Dormammu is the one that continues going on, and it's really weird. It's either half the time it's completely RNG. I don't know what's going on about the hitboxes there. If Dorm gets hit, you're in a great position because now either Morrigan's blocking or she's been comboed and you get to kill her. If Dante gets hit, you might as well have just spent 1 bar instead. In fact, no, you might as well not, because the Sulfus would have hit you in the back. So it's an option. It's really good. I feel like Jam Session is one of the assists which really, really fights her well. People talk about missiles fighting her really well. Overall, I feel like Dormammu slightly loses the matchup overall, but it is very situational, and he does stall her well. He's one of the better ones to fight her. She's beatable. Interestingly, a lot of people might not think about this, but as a Wolverine player, I actually quite like Wolverine versus Morrigan. I think that's one of the matchups against top tiers that he is still relevant in, because I mentioned, you know, she does Soul Fist fly, and then you have to avoid this Soul Fist underneath, and his dive kick does that, and he's very fast on the ground and can get into that position. Maybe it is a Malik Shield thing, but when I'm in training mode, if I can record the same setup, and then depending on when I THC, Dante gets hit or Dom gets hit. It's not a matter of Malik Shield. It's the exact same training mode setup with no changes to the position in an order. Really weird. But that actually gives me an idea. Maybe I could force it with Malik Shield, something like that. But I feel like Wolverine fights Morrigan. It's probably like 6-4, but I don't think Wolverine has as bad of a matchup versus Morrigan as he does versus, say, Magneto or Trish. Or maybe Zero. I feel like it's a worse matchup versus Zero, or sometimes Nova, depending on the assists, depending on the characters with him. I feel like Wolverine fights Morrigan like maybe 6-4, 6.5, depending on the assist. If it is 6-4, and it depends on the assist. Again, I have an assist behind me. I have an assist that soaks up fireballs. That's not too bad, and I have Rising Fang, and I can block a Soul Fist, and Rising Fang can be there in the face of a Morrigan. And if I'm rushing down hard, if a Wolverine rushes down hard, I feel like Morrigan gets that little bit flustered, whereas normally she's able to create space versus a lot of characters. Wolverine's speed and being able to put assists on, I can fluster her quite a bit. fluster her quite a lot, in fact. I would like, I really would love to play more Wolverine matchups versus, the best Zeros, the best Morrigans, the best Phoenixes, the best Novas, the best Dooms offline. I really want to do that. It's so good. So Morrigan for me, I think she edges Zero out. She has more favourable matchups, less negative matchups. And the biggest thing, to be fair, I say they are top 2. They are completely even in my mind, apart from Morrigan is a counter for the best anchor in the game. You have to play differently versus Phoenix teams, and she hard counters Phoenix. That is the thing which gives her the edge. Phoenix ain't number 2. No, Phoenix ain't number 2. No way. Dante, simple enough, is the second best support character in the game, and in my mind, I think overall he's better than Nova for that reason, because he's so applicable and so synergetic with the best characters in the game. I've sort of done a little support tier here almost. S tier for me, the top 2 characters in S tier and the second tier down are the best 2 support characters in the game, because they facilitate the people in the top tier so well. It's ridiculous the amount that Jam does for Zero, the amount that it does for Doom, the amount that it does for Magneto, the amount that it does for Morrigan, even though you don't really see it, the amount that it does for MODOK and for Vergil, the amount that it does for Viper and Dorm and just everybody. It does, and Hawkeye and Deadpool and everybody. It does so much for all of the top tiers, whereas Doom is that little bit more flexible and does everything for everybody. I feel like Dante's that little bit less applicable. I also feel like he's a slightly weaker character as an anchor, but does have better matchups versus a lot of characters, just that sometimes his damage can be the limitations. You need more hits. There's not much more to say about Dante other than Timer Scam Infinite is real. Timer Scam Infinite is very real. That is one of the big things. That's anti-Jean, that's anti-Phoenix, that's also anti-Morrigan. It's anti-Anchor, basically. So Timer Scam Infinite is very good, very strong, and I would like to see more of that being used. Evasion's very much a big proponent of that. I think a couple of other players also use it. But yeah, Dante, Jam Session can't be underestimated. It's such a good assist. It's really good, really strong. And we come to Magneto. So Magneto, some people say Magneto is number 5. Some people put Magneto number 1. For me, Magneto is, I think, the 3rd best point character in the game. 3rd best point character and one of the stronger anchors in the game. He is. Some people, I think, put him as number 1. Some people really go hard on Theory Magneto. I do not personally think that Theory Magneto, as in Magneto who can guard cancel out of block stun, I really think that Magneto, I don't think that's a feasible thing. You have to input your hypergrav in the air, and then you have to 8 or 9 frames later press your plink or press your buttons, press your dash in order not to get the super. And I think it has to be where your buttons are almost, it's messed up. The timing is so specific, and you're at such a risk to get hit. So you think she's 3rd? I don't think Phoenix is 3rd. And I'll get to my reasoning for that in a minute when I've finally placed Vergil. I'll explain what I'm thinking about that. Vergil's going to be awesome, MODOK's going to be. So Magneto, I think his assist is one of the best assists in the game. It's the fastest beam by far. It's 1 hit, so it's really scalable. It doesn't scale. And I think as an anchor, he's one of the most capable things. He converts off everything. He's got great solo damage, and he can play neutral. Like, he's one of the best anchors in the game. He's really capable, and he's also got great solo mix-ups and pressure. So Magneto, for me, I'm going to put him here between Phoenix and Zero. I don't think he's as strong on point as those 2 characters, and I don't think Theory Magneto is real. I've tried learning it, I've tried getting it, and I feel like with practice I could get reasonably good with it, but I don't think it would be something that I could execute in tournaments, apart from trying to style on my opponent when I know I'm a little bit safe to do so. It's a big risk. what even is theory Magneto? I'm talking about guard cancel, block stun, guard cancel Magneto, where every time you put him in block stun, he dashes out of your block stun in the air. You can do it on the ground, and potentially there are functions for this, but it's something I don't think it's realistic, and I don't think even at the top level of play with top level execution, I think if it was possible, Ray would be doing it. Of all the people out there, the foremost Magneto in the world in terms of execution and pushing the boundaries of what can be done execution wise, I don't think it's realistic to expect that sometime in the future a person is going to be out there getting that. If it is, I mean, if I just think for a second, little thought exercise, if it is, and he can get out like a jam session unblockable with Firebrand or something, or a tenderizer, or you're putting him in pressure, he's still going to be something where if you know that he can do that, you can still hit him out of the air dash that he does out of it. Yeah. PC there admitting, even though he was complaining about Phoenix placement, admits that most people don't know how to fire or never knew how to fire. Interesting. MODOK for me is a character who 99 seconds can get away every time. 100% of the time he gets away, if he wants to. If you are putting him on point with Morrigan behind him like Mothman is doing. Oh god, those legs. Oh, don't do that. If you put him on point, I feel like he's a really good character to get set up with. He's kind of like point Dormammu, but better in my mind. It's a similar sort of position. Because once he's up at the top of the screen there, you're watching out for his assists, and you are trying to counter him coming down. So for this, MODOK, really good on point. He's also a good second. He's also a good anchor in a sense, but I think second is his best position overall because he does have a decent assist. The thing about Sonic Blaster as an assist, he's got 3 good assists actually. Sonic Blaster as an assist is you can crouch it with most characters, apart from your big bodies. However, if you try and normal jump over it, a lot of characters get hit at normal jump height, as it's one of the highest beams in the game. So if you're trying to get over it, to get in on the character, maybe you've done like a disruptor with Magneto and done a Sonic Blaster behind it with the assist. You get over disruptor, but you don't get over. You don't get off to Sonic Blaster successfully. It takes like a perfect jump arc to do it, or a really high jump arc to do it, and then some mobility over the top of it. I find a lot of the time my Dormammu gets snagged by that assist trying to jump and then air dash up. It's really interesting. So MODOK's assist are good. Shield, I think Dorito assist. I was talking with Mothman about this the other day. He didn't quite agree with me. I think that shield assist is busted as frig. Like, it's really, really busted. Both for neutral, it stops so many characters. It's a physical barrier. You can't get past it. You have to jump. Well, that's what I was saying. Too many characters can crouch it. But I mean, Strange Beam does the same. But then trying to normal jump over it, it actually tags a lot of characters and forces a lot of characters to block the normal when trying to jump over it. It's the highest hitting beam. I think it's a really good beam. It's also really quick and really durable. It's a very durable beam, if I remember. Mothman, what's the durability on his Sonic Blasters? On his Sonic Blaster assist. But Shield, the Dorito, I think it's so strong. I think like you can't. It nullifies all specials, all projectiles. 12 durability. Are you serious, Christ? It nullifies specials. So Dormammu's Pillar. It nullifies assists and their durability. It nullifies normals, and that's Helmbreaker doesn't do anything when it touches that shield. Projectile nullificating assists. Normals don't do it. So Dormammu's stand medium doesn't do it. The only thing that stops that shield is hyper durability supers. Or it's actually Mothman just does something like Bionic Arm go through that shield. I feel like it does. Any hyper goes through it if I remember correctly. Specifically projectile ones, definitely. But using that as a welcome, like it's like Nova Shield, except people are more tempted to try and press something. It's so broke because you can just wait for somebody you can walk up to them and throw them, and you can literally walk up and plink dash forward and then jump throw right there. They give me the light, medium, and heavy durabilities there. Fabulous Monster. I take it as medium Sonic Blaster. That's the assist. I feel like that's really broken. MODOK is great at runaway. He's got, of course, his TACs. He's got his great DHC. We build back a lot of meter and do a lot of damage with it. He's a great partner. He's great support. Does he have a TAC infinite, Mothman? I know he's got great TACs. in the first place. But does he have a TAC Infinite? I feel like he does, doesn't he? If I'm remembering correctly. For me, MODOK is going to be someone that I position. I'm going to come back to you, Spencer, in a sec yet. MODOK, for me, I think he's better than Dorm. I don't think he's better than Strider. Spencer, I'm just going to put Spencer there for a sec. I think he's better than Dorm. I think he's better than Viper. I think he's better than Firebrand overall. And I think I rate Strider because of the additional, I feel like there's similar levels of support, but Strider has that anchor facilitation, which forces you to give the opponent an extra life, whereas MODOK I'd probably be happy to kill through in the sequence. Like MODOK, I'm not snapping in MODOK in a lot of sequences. I can kill MODOK and be happy killing MODOK, or it's the other character that I'm snapping MODOK out for, basically. I feel like Nova's a better character overall than MODOK, but I mean, if there's not much in it, there's really not much in it here. And maybe I'm overrating Dormammu, but I do feel like I know, I know a bit about Dormammu, and I understand potentially some of his strengths are actually ridiculous. Dorm has to fight MODOK by going for grab and crouching. I mean, if Shield's out, it's really difficult. But if Shield's not out, I mean, MODOK has nowhere to hide. Dormammu eliminates MODOK's ability to sit at the top of the screen. So MODOK has to play a different game versus Dormammu there. Same with Trish has to fight a different game. Has to go in a bit more and be a bit more active and maybe duke it out. Throw sonic blasters at awkward heights and awkward positions, that type of thing. I think MODOK's there solid, and that puts him, if Vergil's to come, you can see, I think that puts MODOK probably solid number 10. And it depends on how you view the support characters. You could easily put MODOK here, Nova there, and Strider there, and put the support characters beneath them, or maybe Doom above them. You could put Doom into this tier maybe, or Dante into that tier. But we're left now with Vergil. Dark Anchor, the final character on a lot of teams when you fight them, and the final character that we're going to put into our tier list here. So Vergil, you have seen more comebacks from Vergil than any other character in the game. You see it happen every tournament, multiple times per game. If Vergil exists in a set, you will see one or two Vergil comebacks, unless one player vastly outplays the other player or is just a vastly better player than the other. But assuming equal skill, this is of course theory, tier list, top level players with top level knowledge, top level execution, top level knowledge of their characters, and top level knowledge of their opponent's options and matchups. Vergil for me is so applicable. And so applicable, even more so, under tournament pressure. For me, Vergil is number 3. Vergil is number 3. My top 5 goes Morrigan, Zero, Vergil, Magneto, Phoenix. And I'll get to this in just a sec. There's a specific reason for this order, obviously. Phoenix is a better anchor. Changes the game more than Vergil does. Yes. You have to play very differently versus a Phoenix team. You really do. Phoenix, however, requires 5 bars. Vergil requires basically 1. 1 bar is all he needs. And if you've given him 2 or 3, which is quite common, it's something which is very applicable. So there's that factor. Number 1, that he comes out as a Dark Anchor much more often. Number 2 is that Vergil, I like her, actually, he's been pointing out in the chat there, has that element of random factor. You get clipped by a Helmbreaker so often, you get clipped by his super very often, you get push blocked out, a Helmbreaker happens, an X Factor happens. There's also that, he's a bit more versatile than Phoenix. He can be played in different positions. First, he's best on anchor, he's second best on point, and he's actually really viable in second. He is a great damage engine for a lot of characters. If you think it's okay to put Spencer second, but not Vergil, then you're out of your mind, because Vergil's obviously a better character than Spencer. And I think his assist overall is better than, Rapid Slash is better than Slant Shot overall, I think, as a tool for more characters. He's viable in a lot of places. But number 2, the random factor's in his favour. But number 3, and I think this is the most important point for me, I believe the number 1 character in this game is Morrigan. The number 1 character is Morrigan, and she hard counters Phoenix. If you think that Morrigan is good in this game, I don't see how you can place Phoenix above Vergil. or I don't know. Magneto's a bit of a, you could, you know, I could argue Magneto around here, whichever way you want. But like, I don't think with the way that Morrigan, the best character in the game, hard counters Phoenix so completely. Morrigan overrated. Maybe. The way she hard counters her, it's simple setups. If you get a TAC, you can soul drain into death with Morrigan. If you DHC to Morrigan, you can soul drain. You can do it's as simple as long as you're able to do a DP into X Factor, you can then do DP fly, soul drain, X Factor, and then get over and kill her. Basically, it's that's the last of Phoenix. She dies from so many setups. If you do any sort of setup, you can land into soul drain, do a DP super, that kills Phoenix. Everything kills Phoenix with Morrigan with a soul drain. You also counter the team as well. So the team is looking to get Mita, and you as Morrigan can do soul drain combos, do soul drains in neutral. It's ridiculous. Phoenix's best partner is Morrigan, but Morrigan also counters Phoenix so hard. Morrigan can do all the soul draining she wants, but if he drops in with 1 bar or even like 0.8, he's coming, boy. If he gets a Helmbreaker and then OTGs, he can build a bar, go into Devil Trigger, do some loops. Next 2 characters have to hold that. He is so applicable, and it gets even worse when you consider that this is tournaments. Oh boy, he come in. Tournaments happen. And people say, just meet him, Vergil, and then he can't Helmbreak you, and then he can't do his Bubble Super. But the thing is, and I agree, yes, meaty him. You'd need to meaty him. The best characters in the game can meaty him, bring him down to the ground, and then hit him with some high-lows and some real mix-ups. But even then, you still see Zeros getting Helmbreaked, you still see Morrigan's getting Helmbreaked, you still see Magneto's getting Helmbreaked. Even the best characters get Helmbreaked, and Vergil lives and starts his stuff. If you meaty him, you don't get the easiest best mix-ups. The best mix-ups in the games are 50-50s, raw 50-50s, left, right, into more layers. But to do that, you have to let him fall in a little bit. And to let him fall in a little bit is to allow him to use Helmbreaker. If that happens, you don't get to do the most impressive, the most difficult to block mix-ups on him. Well, actually, the best mix-ups are unblockables, let's be real. So the idea is you meaty him, and if you meaty him, you don't get the strongest mix-ups. He has a chance to push block and defend those, and maybe keep himself in the air, or block the high-lows and block it out, basically. You don't do the strongest guess mix-ups. You have to put him into block stun and give him a chance to block and tech throws. And if that gets to be the case, at that point, you have to worry about if you leave any gaps at all in your block string, a Helmbreaker might come, or he might do Bubble Super. It's really tough to say that you can consistently force Vergil to the ground without leaving a big enough gap. You might even leave a 1-frame gap and then get option select thrown by a Helmbreaker input that becomes a throw. Or he might do jump heavy, and because he was trying to counter some projectiles and catch a character from a further distance. You might get Helmbreakered, you might X-Factor your button into Helmbreaker and throw you, he might X-Factor into Helmbreaker and hit you whilst you're trying to approach her. There's so much that can go wrong with your incoming on Vergil. Phoenix, she counters, like Morrigan counters her, but she doesn't counter Vergil. He's still applicable, and he still happens. Every competitive set that you see, there is likely to be a Vergil present. One team or the other, or both teams. And he will happen. He is something that even if you snap in, he will still happen. The main thing here is that he has defense. Like, there are people out there who will defend. Chris G isn't relying on mashing Helmbreaker on the way in. Chris G will block it out, and then you have to deal with Dark Vergil. Phoenix, however, you get 5 bars, and Morrigan soul drains her. You get 5 bars, and let's see, unblockable setup with an assist, spending some bars with Firebrand. She gets 5 bars and she gets popped, and Spencer command grabs her. She gets 5 bars and Frank West command grabs her. Even She-Hulk can command grab her. Haggar can command grab her, or she has to respect Lariat assist when she pops. All of this, Hawkeye, I don't know about beating Wesker one-on-one or with assists, but as a character, provides more support and is a better character than Wesker. Yeah, absolutely. So, for me, I can't put Vergil beneath Morrigan. Beneath beneath Phoenix. I think these are the two most impactful characters on the game from 99, and this is the most impactful character after that. Magneto is the third best point. I think he has a better point than Vergil. Phoenix is the best anchor, but I can't state enough that how important it is that the best character in the game, in my opinion, counters Phoenix. And even if you think she's number 2 and the tier list looks more like this, if you were planning on doing this, she counters her super hard. There's like 20 different ways that she will land a soul drain on her, or just drain the team of bars. Overall, Morrigan for me is the best character in the game. I think she plays neutral on a level that's just supersedes anything that overall Zero can do in terms of neutral control. She plays keep away zoning at a level that is just better than anything else in the game. So there's one last thing for me to discuss. There's one final thing for me to discuss. It's this guy right here. Let me just put this guy to the side for a second. This guy, I used to place this guy here, Spencer, the dreadlocked waifu holding guy. Oh, you want me to discuss Hsien Ko? I might discuss Hsien Ko. There's a little bit of rejigging, I think, maybe with Hsien Ko too. Do I think Hsien Ko is better than Jill? I'm only going to move her at one space, Peasy. I'm only going to move up Hsien Ko one space if I think maybe she is better than Jill. I mean, you have to respect that assist, buddy. You have to respect this assist. And I think on point, Ghost Riders. Yeah. She's getting one space. But Spencer, I would put Spencer in A tier. However, I do think Zipfinite is practical. I do think it's doable. We've seen it done. I want Liberal Terminator to make it practical, because if I play the third best point character and one of the best characters in the game, number 4 in the game, if I play him, hard tag to Spencer, and then do a Zipfinite.
Welcome.
Oh shite. Zonan freely coming in with the raid, my boy. Zonan, how we doing? Ronan, you good? Oh, you had a good stream. Thanks for dropping in. You've just come in. The final discussion point for my stream is where to place Spencer. Spencer, I think I want Liberal Terminator, and I want maybe Mondank, and I want Coach Steve, but I think Liberal Terminator might be the person just crazy enough to do it. I want him to make Zipfinite real, and if Zipfinite's real, and it's consistent, and he's not dropping it, game after game after game after game after game, he's winning games, 5 game sets, 3-2, or he's winning 3-1, 3-0. I want him to win them. I want a 3-0 game to be 99 seconds, timeout, 99 seconds, timeout, 99 seconds, timeout. All he has to do is get a hit on the first character whilst his other 2 characters, while all 3 of his characters are alive, and then get Spencer in somehow. I don't know if you can do it with Nova, hard tag to Spencer, but you can definitely do it with Magneto, hard tag. So you can play Magneto, Spencer, Doom, or Magneto, Doom, Spencer, hard tag Spencer, and then you can go into Zipfinite from there. From there, it doesn't matter that Jean gets 5 bars. It doesn't matter that Vergil is a dark anchor. It doesn't matter that you could be unblockable by these characters. It doesn't matter that Strider could come back. It doesn't matter that Morrigan's neutral is the best in the game. You get 1 hit, and that's it. It doesn't matter that Zero's incomings are the best in the game. It doesn't matter, because Zero has to get a hit, and then not unblockable. Zero gets a hit, and then maybe gets an unblockable, or maybe just does like zoop, 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 zoop. 3 hits. You get 1 hit with Magneto, and the game is over because Zipfinite times out. I want that to be the meta, and if that is the meta, I would change my tier list. This is probably how I would put my tier list right now. I think Spencer is potentially the best character in A tier because of his ability to be a damage engine, because of his ability to rush down hard, his anti-Phoenix command grabs, like his mix-ups, his welcome mix-ups on top of that. But this is how my tier list is if Spencer is not practical. If it is practical, I think Magneto becomes the best character in the game, and Spencer moves up to S+, and maybe, I don't know where to put him really, but I think he's somewhere in S+. Maybe I'd put him there just because he is the facilitator. Magneto, and if you found a Zero hard tag to Spencer that makes this Infinite possible, or a Vergil one, that would maybe bump them up as well. If you found a hard tag from any of these other characters to Spencer, that'd be great, but you'd be playing a top 3 point character, and in my mind, who is the 4th best character in the game, 4th best character in Magneto, tagging out to Spencer as opposed to Spencer having to play on point as Infinite, because if Spencer has to play on point, he isn't the best point character. He does lose a lot of matchups, especially to the better characters, but Magneto does not. Magneto goes even or slightly loses against all of the best characters in the game. Sometimes, depending on the situation, wins clean. Like, Magneto is that good on point, and if he does, I think this is more like what the tier list would look like. I think this is what the tier list would look like if Zipfinites are viable. Okay, it's late for me. I spent a lot of time on this tier list tonight. Aces, you think A tier is overcrowded? I mean, I think there's that many characters. I think maybe don't pay attention to the fact that it's A. I just think there's that many characters in mid. I think this game is... hey, Dara, how are we doing? I think this game is so flexible that A tier can be that crowded. It's just the mid. I think the mid is there. Final words on this tier list. Again, just to reiterate, this is top-level play with players who know the characters to the best of their ability, like the best of what's available. They play it to the best of like literal, like reasonable. Like, for example, Magneto has block stun guard cancels, but I don't think they are reliably executable by a human. So it has to be humanly reliable to the best of the player's ability. So you would look at the best of what anyone has ever used with that character potentially for an idea, and assume then they have perfect knowledge of their character, or top level knowledge of the character and top level knowledge of their opponent, and that their opponents have the same, and that all of these characters are being played with their best support available for them or in the best setups, and we're trying to overall consider how good they are. This game is, in my mind, it was not well balanced. A-Ting did not do a good job in Capcom of balancing these characters. However, it is a balanced game. We're looking at 50 characters, and I'm saying that pretty much, how many characters are in this bottom tier? 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 characters in here? I'm saying like 41 characters could be played. Maybe Felicia's... kind of want to stick Felicia and see. I'm saying like 30, 40 characters can be made viable. It is a happy accident, absolutely. I'm saying there's this many characters who are potentially viable here. It's one of those. I mean, I'm one maybe to talk about this because I play Wolverine, Dormammu, Iron Fist, Magneto, Dormammu, Iron Fist, Dormammu, Dante, Iron Fist. I play this character down here, and I swear to God, put me in a tournament versus, fly me to the US, and I will make this boy shine. I'm not a loyalist in any way. I just believe in the strength of that assist and what it does, and for my play style in particular, I still rank him realistically down there. I think his assist is incredible and his damage is great, and he can kill. There's so many viable characters, and you might have to put them with Doom Vergil, you might have to put them with Morrigan Jean, you might have to put them with Spencer Doom, or Doom Strider or something like that, or Dante Vergil. Like, you might have to make, you know, your Hsien Ko team work, as we've seen, or your Jill team work. But if you do, you can play pretty much any character in this game. Some people would argue, and I have had this discussion with people who I know through fighting games, who play other fighting games, that, oh, but you see Doom on every team, and you see Vergil on every team, That might be the case, that there are 15 Dooms in top 8. That doesn't make any sense. You know, there's a bajillion Dooms in a tournament. That might be the case. That might be the case, but there's so many viable characters, and you can do them, like, you can make some really unique teams. You know, you can make KBR where you play an A-tier character, an A-tier character, and an A-tier character. You could say that a couple of the, you could say that Hulk and Haggar are a B, but I'm saying that with KBR and that team makeup, this is where those characters fall. I think Hulk's point strength is so potent when he's got those two characters behind him, and Rocket helped facilitate that as well, and so does Dante. Goki, I'm not confirming that Magneto is the best character in the game. My order, if Spencer can do 15 characters, there's 15 Dooms in top 8, I'm claiming it now. If Spencer can do Zipfinites reliably, I think Spencer would be an S plus character, and Magneto would therefore be the best character in the game, because he would facilitate one touch wins. You would get one hit on one character, hard tag to Spencer out of Magneto without needing to reset the combo at all, and then do Zipfinite, and that'll time out the game, and it'll be one hit wins. You don't need to unblockable anybody, you don't need to mix anybody up, you don't need to TAC. It's a straight win. If you cannot Zipfinite with this character, this is how my tier list looks. Magneto is number 4 for me. There's 15 Dooms in top 8. Like, that's how it is. There's lots of characters who are viable for a lot of different reasons. And remember, you are only one hit. Like, Hulk can get one hit and then do two 50-50s and the game's done. Or Nova can do that and outplay Hulk for 40 Marvel seconds and then win the game based on, you know, some clever Marvel neutral. Or you could play 60 seconds of neutral and get clipped by Hulk finally, or get hit by a lariat, something like that. Morrigan is number 1. What are you talking about, Lena? What you talking about, Lena? So that's the context for this. This game is incredibly fluid. It's incredibly accessible. It's the most fun game out there. It is possibly, for 50 characters and a team game, it's one of the most balanced things I've ever played. Play whatever character you like, put them with a couple of good characters to synergize well with them and have fun. Like, play yourself some Chris, Wesker, Akuma. Play yourself some Hulk, Sentinel, Haggar. Play yourself some MODOK, Morrigan, Jean. Play yourself some Magneto, Dorm, Dante. Or some Wolverine, Dorm, Iron Fist. Like, play Firebrand, Doom, Skrull. Play yourself some... Oh god, I'm gonna go on limb here and say, play yourself some Thor, Arthur, Firebrand. Play whatever you like. This game is absolutely bonkers. It's so free and accessible. And what I will say is, this is a tier list. You can base your character choices off it, but what I will say is, you are not beating a player who is better than you, no matter what team you pick. Maybe at the very top level, you're going to get very top level players having an edge over others with certain teams, and matchups of course matter, but you playing Morrigan Vergil is not going to help you beat someone playing Ghost Rider, Haggar, Arthur if that Ghost Rider, Haggar, Arthur player is better than you, even assuming equal matchup knowledge. That player who is better than you is going to outplay you in this game. This game is a game of the better player wins consistently. And that is the final closing statement that I'll make about the game. If you've enjoyed this content, of course, we've streamed this live on Twitch. I'm on twitch.tv/SpartanThrone. If you've enjoyed this content, feel free to jump over to twitch.tv/SpartanThrone, give me a follow, hit that subscribe button if you're so inclined, and you want to see more of this type of content. If you're watching this from YouTube and you've made it this far, blow me in heck, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll be possibly making, I've got another tier list video that I've been wanting to make that'll probably be more of an Excel spreadsheet, because the tier maker website isn't going to be set up for this as good as this list format is. I'm going to do a team tier list, and also potentially a shell tier list. I've actually written the shell tier list out. I have it planned. I know my list. In fact, no, or did I? I think I might have just written out the shells. I'll do a shell tier list. So I'll do another one of these. But if you have been watching this on YouTube, I hope you leave me a comment. Tell me what you agree with. If there's any blatant things that you disagree with, absolutely. If you do not think Frank is, A tier, tell me. If you think Akuma's fallen off so hard you want to put him in B tier, put him in. I think so too. High 5k. I think a team and shell tier list is more important overall. I think it's more important. Best shell Akuma Sentinel. Don't at me. Like, if you think that Phoenix Wright is a better character, if you think he's not the second worst character in the game, let me know. If you think that Taskmaster's a better character, Captain America, whatever it is, if you think I'm absolutely out of my mind for not putting Doom in, like, some people will put Doom there. Some people will put Doom as top 1 in the game just because he supports everyone. He's the glue, and I can understand that. I could potentially actually have my tier list look like this. I think that's a perfectly applicable way to do it and have all of those characters in S+. I think a slightly more elegant way to do it is to put Doom and Dante here, though. I think that is the slightly better way to do it. I think maybe Dormammu top 11. I think that might be me pushing it a little bit, maybe. I do really rate his support, though. Stalking Flare DHC spells, you have to respect it, and the Stalking Flare DHC is so good. And he just shut down a lot of, like him punishing spiral swords is really important. Him, teleporting around a disruptor, or being able to punish disruptor with chaotic flame, him being able to out chaotic flame Phoenix and also use spells on her. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on here. But that's it for me. Follow me on Twitch, like me on like this video on YouTube, hit the subscribe button if you want more. I will return with more stuff. I'm feeling a little bit better now. I've been ill for a little bit, and I'm going to be looking to make more content going soon. It is a weeknight, and I'm still awake at 3 a.m. in the morning. I am up in 4 hours, ladies and gentlemen. That's how much my commitment to Marvel means to me. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this. Thanks for all the viewers for tuning in on Twitch here. It's been a good stream. I don't know when I'll make my next one. I want to make a tier list of players for within the Europe region, like Fiji Greed did with like global region. So look out for that as well. And then pretty soon, tomorrow night, make sure you tune in to twitch.tv Ghost SFO. So make sure you tune in to twitch.tv / Ghost SFO. Because we'll be having the 8th and final tournament of the season, the UG Untamed Gaming Series that we'll be running through the EU guys. Yours truly, I think everyone I've entered and actually been able to play in, I've won, so I've come first in each of them, so I'm set up pretty. There is going to be a last chance qualifier for a season finale, much like TNS have been doing it. So make sure you tune in that tomorrow night. I'll be playing. I'm probably going to try and play my Dormammu, Dante, Iron Fist team again. I'm really enjoying that team at the moment. I'm going to try and play that. I think also watch out for something I'm going to put out tomorrow night. I'm going to put a bounty out on Shuffle. If you knock him into losers, you get £5. And if you knock him out of losers, you knock him out the tournament. I'm not decided on the bounty for knocking him out completely. I might make it £10, and obviously if you're the person to do that twice to him, double jeopardy the guy, you get £15. So there'll be a little bit of an incentive to beat Shuffle, a little bit of a target on his back. And then look out for, pretty soon, we're going to organise a 5v5. I'm a team captain and Shuffle is a team captain, and we're going to select from a pool of players who hopefully will volunteer to play. So we're going to be playing that, maybe set a date for that in a couple of weeks' time. So watch out for that. That's going to be streamed here on twitch.tv / Spartan Throne, and I'll put that up on YouTube as well. Otherwise, it's been my pleasure. Thank you guys for all you guys hanging out. Shout outs to everybody who's dropped through, who dropped in and come through. Much love to you guys. Much love to the Marvel community. And I'll probably post this on Twitter now. I might post two versions of the stream list, the tier list, on Twitter now, and then let that be disseminated however it is, and fucking it's gonna be a nightmare, isn't it? So there's a point. Who's actually playing Marvel right now? Who is out there streaming in the land of Marvel? Is anybody playing? Eccentric? Oh god, Eccentric's playing Mega Man, but he's not playing Marvel. Where's my Marvel at? Oh, we've got Pilot Slot Marvel with Kevin Hart. Let's go raid Avengers. Is that how we spell it? Yeah, Avengers. Let's do this. Raid Full Zetsu. Who's Full Zetsu? Okay. I've never raided Full Zetsu before. Let's do that. Full Zetsu. That's how I spell Full Zetsu. I like that. Is it full white Zetsu or full black Zetsu though? That's the question. Right, we're going to raid Full Zetsu. Let me join. Let me just get into. That was a bit loud. There we go. Right, we are almost ready for the raid. Thank you, everybody. We'll peace out here, and I'll catch you all next time. Lena, shout outs to you. Thanks to everybody, and we'll catch you next time. Right, let's raid this boy.